In a world of remakes and remasters,
Are we playing for
what was once sacred and cool has now soured and become lame.
Red?
Gone are the days of Paz and Cowabunga. Now is the reign of slurp juice and dabs. Kids these days don't even know how bad they've got it. Now it's up to the best generation to rise to the occasion and make a show that dares to go where a lot of other nerdy shows have already gone quite a bit. That's right. They're going to talk about it a lot. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. This is Best Gen, where nerds complain about nerdy things. It's called Best Gen because we all happen to be from the same gen, roughly, and we happen to think that it's the best. Not because we as people are better than you, but because our entertainment was. So, hitch your wagons to the train and prepare to wax nostalgic as we reminisce upon the days of yore and brood in seething hatred of the things of Nor. That's not a real word. I made it up. I'm like Dr. Seuss. I can make words up. Nor is the opposite of yore. It means now. The things of now. How's everybody doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. I'm tired. It's been a week for me. I've been working nonstop. But it's going pretty well. The channel's doing okay. The shorts are doing well. I wish regular videos were doing a little bit better. But I'm glad to be here on Sunday night because I love talking with my friends about nerdy stuff. And I love talking to the chat. So there is quite a bit to discuss this week. Not as many TV shows, but there's a lot of news.
Mm-hmm.
We've got episode 4 of The Mandalorian, unfortunately, to talk about. And I did watch Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Did anyone else watch it?
Oh, I didn't get to.
I literally just was looking. I always check on Sunday morning for everything we are supposed to cover for that day, and I was like, "Oh, we gotta watch Shazam."
It was
So I
optional.
just rushed to the cinemas and watched it. And, we can
It was
talk
optional
about it.
homework.
Yeah, I saw it. I mean, I was
I
bored.
feel like you can easily discuss this movie without spoiling anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about that. And there's
talking about reading books out of order. I actually watched Shazam. Mark Clark style. I watched Shazam 2 first, and then I watched Shazam.
It's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal. Yep.
No, let me tell you that it made the experience of watching Shazam 1 more enjoyable. Let me tell you that. Yeah, it was way better movie.
Which one? 1 or 2?
The first one. Yeah, the first one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, first one's
I
pretty good.
might disagree actually. But we'll get into it. And of course, yeah, I read one book this week. One and a half books. So we'll get into that. We're joined by my cousin Jared in first chair because he showed up first. Happily married in Arizona. And the Ingram Mexa has got his own channel, which you should be subscribed to because he's funny. And my brother David, who also has a channel. The Shelf Help Gaming, if you like games.
Yep.
Definitely feel a little out of place. It sounds like I need to start my own channel.
I know, right?
Yeah,
Where
probably.
you been?
It could be Architectures Anonymous.
I mean, you could talk about architectural things, sets and things like that. If you
Yeah.
like, you like, I would love to see something like that. I really, I'm interested a lot of things about set that I sometimes don't know.
There's actually a channel that I do like. I forget what it's called, but it's a city planner who just plays like those city building games. It just does ridiculous stuff. Yeah, this would never pass inspection.
Yeah.
Stuff
Oh,
like
I think I know who
Awesome.
you're talking about. He does
that. Yeah,
the Sim City or City
City
Builder, whatever.
Skyline. He does skylines a lot.
Skylines, right? And it is like the tsunami tests or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's some
It's-
interesting stuff.
That's a cool subject.
That's
Yeah.
the great thing about YouTube is there's a little niche for everyone. At least there
Mhm.
used to
For
be.
sure.
I love it.
So
Yeah, well, all right. Well, I'll let you know next time. What we got going. AA, join my channel. No, just kidding.
oh boy, let's talk about Shazam real quick. Let's talk about Shazam first.
Mhm.
I watched Shazam, The Fury of the Gods, numero dos.
Mhm.
I liked it. It's definitely not a perfect movie. It's not a great movie, but I think it's a good movie. It's a comedy. It doesn't take itself very seriously. There are plenty of things that you could pick apart plot wise. Like, oh, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's not overtly stupid. Mostly internally consistent, and it's primarily a comedy, and I think it succeeds in that. I enjoyed my time in the theater for Shazam 2. Around the ending, it overstayed its welcome a little bit. I was getting a little tired, but for the most part, I thought it was kind of fun. The ending was a little stupid.
Yeah.
The ending wasn't
I.
great.
Mhm. That was my main problem with the movie. The movie. I think it was on the thumbnail of the video or the name of the video, but it's way better than anything we've seen from Marvel
Yeah,
the last
that's
like
it,
2 years. Yeah.
and that definitely helped, right? Like
Mhm.
in the theater, it was refreshingly not a Marvel movie. Like if you go into these Marvel movies, you know everything is going to happen. It's paint by the numbers, and in this one, I was like, this feels different. This feels very different. Like they showed like casualties. Like they showed a lot of civilians dying.
Yeah,
Crossfire.
my favorite part of the movie was when they were showing off, how powerful these girls from Greece
Yeah.
were. The ladies of the
Oh,
daughters of
their
Atlas.
opening scene.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
oof.
was good. It was really
Yeah,
good.
yeah, it was good. It was funny. Wasn't that cheesy. Sometimes opening scenes tends to be cheesy or too
No, yeah, no, the introduction of the
cliche.
villains. It was
No,
powerful.
but when he first meets the the daughters of Atlas, and
Mhm.
this girl is like talking to the teacher on his
Uh-huh.
ear, and the teacher just do something that I cannot say on YouTube.
Mhm.
That was intense. That was
Yeah.
intense. I was like, oh, they really went for it. Like Black Adam was supposed to be this dark comedy, but for
This
me it
one
was
felt a little
pretty.
darker than
Yeah,
Black
yeah.
Adam.
That was way darker.
It
Yeah.
really did. Black Adam. It definitely it went for like the edgy, but he was really because of the Rock's involvement. He was very specific that he only wanted to be seen killing the bad guys, right?
Mhm.
And it didn't. It took the
Yeah.
edge off, and in this one, like there are consequences, and for a comedy, it establishes more stakes than anything the MCU has done.
Well,
Because if you watch the MCU movie, it's like you're watching this fluffy bounce house where you're like, oh hey, yeah, there's probably stakes. I don't know. And in this one, you're like, well, people could actually die in this.
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, if we compare it to Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania, it's like night and
Oh.
day, night
Oh,
and day. Like holy moly, everything that Quantumania tried, they did it decently in this movie. At least,
Yeah, absolutely. Which
Um, mhm.
it's doing horribly numbers wise
but
because DC shot themselves in the foot. But
mhm.
I think if it weren't for that announcement, I think a lot more people would have gone to see this in theater.
Definitely, and more because Levi, he
Yeah,
has
he's
some star
charming.
power. Yeah, he
Yeah.
has a lot of charm. The first movie, you said that it was not as good as this one. I don't think so. We can get into that later. But
I I
mhm.
think that this one had a much better story to tell. Um,
He had definitely way more things to say. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
I don't think the first movie is bad. I enjoyed the first movie. It was very one note though. How and kind
Yeah.
of it was funny. It didn't really go anywhere though. It didn't really do anything. And this one
Mhm.
had that same comedy and actually it told an interesting story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
really
story
like the
was
first.
interesting.
I
Mhm.
really like the first Shazam movie, but I agree that the concept of they're playing with the seven deadly sins or whatever.
Yeah,
They were all just the same generic
yeah, they were
monsters.
all the same sin.
There was nothing special about any one of them in particular. So, but it was a fun story. I liked I liked the humor of it and the exploration of those characters. I thought it was
Yeah.
really well done. But so
Um,
cool.
it's
I look forward to seeing the second one. I haven't seen it yet. Though.
it's worth watching. I did not regret the theater purchase, unlike MCU movies that I've paid for. So
Yep.
yeah, it's better than anything Phase 4 / Phase 5. If you
Phase 5, yeah,
if you include Quantumania, it's this arbitrary. It's Phase 5 now because they were failing so
They
hard.
drew a
They
line
wanted to draw
somewhere.
the line in the sand.
And they thought Quantumania would redeem itself.
would be the refresh. It was the worst one yet.
Yeah.
Uh,
And the thing with this one is it suffers the same problems that every superhero movie is
oh
suffering.
yeah, it has
Definitely.
flaws. Shazam 2 has
And
a lot of flaws.
yeah, the problem is that they are so repetitive. Like it's always the same thing. It's always the too many jokes, or
There there
uh,
were there
taking
were
jokes too far.
there were too many moments where they slowed down in the middle of the action to have emotional beats, and I'm like, doesn't really make sense here. So a little bit of pacing problems for sure.
Yeah, and the whole thing, there was a pretty unfunny, painful joke in the whole movie that supposedly this girl was
Yeah,
hangover and she was using some glasses, and because it's a kids movie, they don't know what
they don't
hangover.
say the
Yeah,
term hangover.
they don't
Yeah,
even mention it. She was like, no, I went out and I was tired, something like that.
she had an eye exam.
Mhm. By
That's
the
why
way,
she was wearing
she's
glasses.
smoking. That
Yeah.
girl is
I
holy
I
moly.
think if I noticed correctly, they don't swap her actress anymore
No, they don't. Yeah, no,
because they
she's
used to
fully girl.
swap between the kids and the adults when they Shazam.
Mhm.
And for the oldest daughter, they I believe it's the same actress. And in the first movie, it was not the case. There were two. And in
Mhm.
this one, they keep her because
Interesting.
she's developed now.
Yeah, she's in college now and she hangs out and parties and a lot. Well, whatever. They say that she has sunglasses on inside because supposedly she went for the eye doctor or something like that, and they repeat the same joke at the end, and it's
Yeah.
like, what? Like, why would you even
There was anything
go
new.
back? Yeah, why would you even go back to the beginning of the movie? To recall that joke. I don't know. It was just it's the same thing
Yeah.
that happens in the history of the war. They take jokes too far, and it's completely
Yeah.
unfunny.
So
Like if
some
it
of the
was,
jokes did not land, but a lot
yeah.
of them did for me, and it was fun. But yeah, it's got flaws. I could the plot can be picked apart if you want to, but
Oh yeah, you
for
can
the most part,
nitpick,
it was
but yeah, whatever you can nitpick about it by basically anything. No, there's people nitpicking about Game of Thrones.
the twist reveal was not very surprising. It was pretty obvious.
Oh, what was it? The twist? Because
Just
I
with the
didn't even know.
with the daughters. I don't want to spoil it.
Oh, the
Exactly.
gotcha.
When you ask the question, what twist? That is, it's very telling.
Yeah, exactly.
Because-
It's like okay, there was not a good twist
no,
if it was supposed to be a twist. Yeah, the whole thing with the girl that's supposed to be Snow White, although her skin is more like you know
not white. Yeah.
olive oil. You can just call her olive oil because that's supposed to be the reason why you call her Snow White. Because her skin is white as snow. But yeah, I don't like her. She has no charisma whatsoever. She's boring. She's like, oh yeah, I like this kid that is
She didn't really
a
add any.
handicap,
Yeah.
and but I don't want to date him because whatever.
The,
And they end up dating
they gave her a large portion of screen time
a
for not
lot.
having really added a whole lot to the movie.
She does nothing basically.
Mhm.
I don't even remember what she did. For
She
the
uses her
plot.
powers like twice, and
Ah,
then
yeah. She has like this crazy power, like crazy powerful
which don't make a whole
power.
lot of sense. Well, what's
Yeah,
happening to all the
what?
like? Is this happening for real, or is this like a mental thing,
Uh-huh.
or is she only actually transporting herself?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening to all of the people inside these buildings? Like,
Yeah, they just like
she has like a Doctor Strange esque power where she can like fold stuff in, but she
literally
like
she does the Doctor Strange thing. I don't
yeah.
know why do that. Okay, whatever. So she was annoying and useless for the whole movie.
Yeah. To me, I don't think she was actually physically moving things. It looked like it was like I can like bend I can make it look like things are moving, and I can move myself through that space because like we saw at the end of the movie, she can kind of teleport herself.
Exactly. That's the reason why I was like, okay, it's supposed to be an illusion, but then she she used like
Yeah,
the illusion to create
yeah,
a space between the enemy and her. So it's like, okay, probably has some physical consequences. But yeah, her power was not explained at
not
all.
explained.
Yeah, not explained at all. I mean, at least the powers of the daughters of Atlas,
Yeah,
whatever, were pretty no pretty self-explanatory
yeah,
and at some point unique. The girl can talk
elements and
people into zombies. That open scene was
it's good.
everything. That if the movie was just the opening scene, I would say this movie is a gem, no, a hidden gem. But
I was scared when they started doing the smoke things. I was like, they're gonna
yeah,
do another like faceless like we've transformed the population into faceless villains that the good guys can beat up so that we can keep our rating. And I was like, oh, again. And that's not what it was. I was like, oh, that is very different. And
yeah, and
I
then they took like a dark
I
turn.
I
Yeah, they
really
took the
liked it.
dark turn. Yeah, it took like the dark turn, and it was really well done. The problem I have with the movie is that I think the trailer was better than the movie. Better edited than the movie.
Yeah, it felt
Uh,
a little too long.
the trailer. There's a part where I was like really pumped up. I was saying, "Oh, holy, the movie is cool." This movie looks like it's going to be a cool thing to watch when they all say Shazam at the same time,
Mhm.
but when it happens in the movie, it's like a completely random scene, and
Yeah,
in the trailer they made it seem like it was such a badass scene.
there's a big moment.
Shazam, they all gonna transform each other together, whatever. Nah,
Definitely
I
agree with
was
you there.
damn, I was disappointed on that when I was like, holy, I wish the trailer was the movie. I wish the trailer because they do present many things that they don't show up in the movie. Like
They also spoil uh, like the ending of the movie in the trailer.
yeah, basically, but because of the ending having no consequences, and
Yeah,
that when you say okay, it has consequences, but then they pull up that stinky marble
yeah, yeah.
move on the end, is like okay, there's no consequences in DC. It
But
doesn't matter.
some people did die. The regular Joes that we don't care about.
Ah, but come on, who cares about they don't even have a name?
I just
guy
like that.
that dies.
I just like that they showed people dying.
Ah, that was
you know,
interesting.
Marvel, they'll throw someone through a building and be like, "Well, everyone was safe." I think, you know.
Yeah.
And this, they're
No,
like,
that
"No,
was
like,
that
we're
was
con-" yeah.
that was
But
the
but you're right.
the
There
best
weren't
part of the movie.
actual consequences with the movie.
That was the best part of the movie. Like I said, the crudeness of it, the fact that they didn't give any F, and they say, okay, let's just kill a bunch of guys, even though it's not Black Adam. But the reshoots, there were reshoots in this movie, right? You know, the whole scene with they probably changed the ending. I'm guessing that they
The ending-
changed the ending, and they probably said, okay, we're going to first. They said we're going to reboot the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, this guy is gonna do his nasty things with the franchise. Let's see how much money does he lose.
Well, the post credit scene was definitely a reshoot because it was surprise, James Gunn's wife.
Bro, is James Gunn's wife? I
Yeah.
didn't even see it. I forgot again. I forgot again.
You didn't stay.
I was-
You didn't stay for the post credit
but
scene.
it's not Marvel, so I was like, okay, it's not Marvel. There's no freaking post credit scene.
It's
But I
a
forgot that Black Adam,
superhero
I
movie.
forgot that Black Adam did it, you know, to
Yeah.
tease
DC's
Henry
doing
Cavill,
it
and
too
then
now.
they dump him. I just wanted to say that the DC intro is like the worst thing I've seen in my life. That it is the cheapest copy of the Marvel intro. Is like they just show
Bad.
like 5 superheroes and then the whole universe, and it's like this.
What I was surprised about is the opening credits. This isn't even a Warner Brothers movie. It's New Line Cinema, which is a subsidiary of Warner Brothers. Like they're not even claiming it as their own.
Mm.
It was. I was like, huh?
It's probably going to be an HBO
Weird.
like that. It's gonna
Oh,
be
yeah.
like in a month.
Oh,
I bet you.
they've moved up the date. They're
Yeah.
giving up on this movie.
They have
That's
to
bad.
because they're
Well,
losing money. Yeah, they have to take it out of.
I
cinema.
honestly don't know why they had James Gunn make that announcement. It makes no sense.
Mhm.
They neutered their own films, and there's
I
still
think-
one more or two more. There's still two more.
I thought it was just The Flash.
No, there's Aquaman 2.
There's Aquaman 2. I completely
And
forgot about
Aquaman
that
2 is
one.
after the
and the Blue
freaking
Beetle.
Flash.
There's three more movies. There's three more
They're
lame ducks.
Blue Beetle is supposed to be you're right. Blue Beetle is supposed to be DCU still, right?
Mhm.
DCEU.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. His
I
announcement
thought it
was
was-
very vague about what is going to be considered canon after this. So it's
Okay.
just
Um,
mind-boggling to me. He could have easily said, by the way, both Shazam movies are still in the main DCU timeline after
Right.
this because it really doesn't connect.
And say, okay, we're going to keep
But-
Zachary Levi because
yeah,
he's a great
or
Shazam.
something.
like-
You know, it's just
he's-
such a weird announcement.
Yeah.
He's very
I don't-
charming.
when
I
they
did.
did Shazam, I was worried that was not a good pick because I didn't know the guy. But then when he did it, the movie was like, holy moly, this guy was born to make that character.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love Zachary Levi. Mark
Yeah.
Clark mentions in the
Yeah,
comments.
Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck, I freaking love that
Oh.
show, and we actually
Oh,
this
Did you finish it? I couldn't finish.
I finished it. Yeah,
The first
It's-
season is just great, and then he loses all of his powers,
yeah.
and he has to build up. And season 2 was still good and he's building up, and then they have to keep having him lose his powers at the end of the season.
Yeah,
So
it does get a little bit repetitive, but
I
the first
think
season is
I finished
amazing.
season 3. That's when
and-
they brought in like his dad, right at the very end.
Yeah, I think so.
I
Yeah,
believe
I
I
don't
finished
remember.
season 3, but I was so
But-
tired I couldn't finish it. Were there 4 or
it gets
5?
good in the end, and it actually does. It's one of the few shows that actually concludes, and the ending is disappointing, but also
Oh,
really
come on.
well done at the same time. Like it's one of those
It's the
endings that
bittersweet
you,
ending, yeah.
yeah, it's one of the endings that you hate to love. You know, you're like, oh, come on, why did you have to do it that way? But also, it's really perfect.
like
But yeah, I
Killer.
really liked it. I finished it, and yeah, I fell in love with Zachary Levi, and he also does he's in Thor, some of the Thor movies as a random Asgardian.
He replaced he came in after.
And
the
then he's also the voice of Flynn Rider in the Tangled series,
yes,
and he's an awesome actor.
yeah. He's
Yeah.
also a good person.
Yeah, he's just a wholesome guy all around. Yeah.
yeah, he's kind of based, you know. He's not like crazy woke, like not at all crazy woke, like quite the contrary.
Chuck also,
Um,
the TV show Chuck also has Alec Baldwin's more likable brother.
Yes. Oh my
Oh,
gosh. His
yeah.
character. What's his character's name? I completely forgot.
I don't know. I
Um,
can't. I only see his character from Firefly and Serenity.
Yes.
So
Yeah. He's a
Yeah.
freaking awesome actor too.
I gotta
But
say,
anyway,
Chuck
I just
is
found out.
So
yeah.
I always
Our
call
mom-
him Jane. But
Bro, our mom freaking loves the Chuck series.
she does. Yeah, no, I talked to her. She
Just
loves
found out
Chuck.
about that. I'm like, I didn't know you watched the show. I love the show. It's amazing.
It's a little
yeah.
it's a little risque too.
It is.
For-
There's a
for our
couple
mom.
episodes that gets a little risque. I'm like, oh my goodness. But yeah, she told me
Well,
that she loves the show. I'm like, wow.
I probably should go back and finish watching it then.
You should. It was good. It was worthy of finishing.
We don't
It
have
was-
Chuck on Mexico. It's literally I never heard. I don't even know what the hell that show. You say
Yeah.
superpowers
So,
or what do you mean?
Ba-
Like what?
Basically, the premise of the show is he gets a secret encrypted device that downloads a whole bunch of images to his brain, and
It's
basically
he gets a
has the
database.
entire
Like
the entire
smoking?
CIA database downloaded into his brain. So he has
He's a walking
immediately
computer.
Yeah, he's a walking computer with all this secret knowledge, and he can just like tap into it and do kung fu whenever he needs to. And it's pretty cool. But like he's like this complete nerd.
That's kind of a
that's
spoiler,
really
David.
incompetent.
David, that was
What?
a pretty big spoiler. Originally, he was just a walking database, and
Oh,
then
you're right. I forgot
it's like
about
at
that.
the end. That's like the season
Don't
finale.
say, don't
That's
say,
not
don't
it.
say.
Is that he can do kung fu, but you already spoiled it.
No, don't worry.
So-
I didn't pay attention.
So he
to
used
that, so.
he's literally just a loser nerd guy, but the CIA has the super hot handler that has to keep him close because he's their computer, so they have to keep using him. Hey, who's the bad guy? Because their when he downloaded it, they
Right.
lost their files, and so they have to keep him around to identify their targets and stuff like that. So
Sounds
he's
like
just
a cool show.
he's
It's
a
a
walking
very fun
database,
show.
but then he gets physical powers too. It's the
Man, but-
Matrix. He knows kung fu, and you spoiled it. You ruined the whole
We
show.
don't
I'm
get.
sorry. I
Way to go. Way to go.
completely forgot.
Shame. Shame.
I don't think he
shame.
spoiled it because I didn't understand quite what it is, and I'm probably going to see the show anyway. So
we need
It's
to
fun.
Coyote Mexa to the USA.
Yeah.
It's because we
I
don't even-
also miss Chuck's girlfriend though. She's been doing pretty well in Hollywood. She was in the Tomorrow War. She was in
Oh,
a
yeah,
couple
that
like
was good.
indie films. She had another big role, but
So-
Yvonne something Stravosky, something like that. It's a Russian name.
So Mexa, I don't know what you have access to down there in Mexico, but it is streaming on HBO Max and Amazon Prime.
I got HBO Max. Let me just check if
Talking about-
I have everything, but the problem is that they don't
have
put.
different.
Yeah, they. Well, I don't
different
know.
stuff
I don't know what they
available,
did. I don't know what they do. That I think that's one of the most racist things that they can do. Basically, segregating your entertainment.
Yeah.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with copyright law whatsoever. It's racism. It's racist.
That's why you need a VPN, Mexa.
I used to have one, but I
Gorgeous
never
New Yorker.
used it. And I just got tired and said, "Why am I going to pay for another year when I used it like 3 times in the whole year?"
Yep.
Or just pirate it. I mean, no, that's bad. Don't do that.
We don't.
Don't
for
file
that.
sharing. It's not a thing.
We don't subscribe to pirating.
Definitely do not go to thepiratebay.com and find yourself a program that can download torrents. That is, I would
Man,
not
that place is still up.
I would not want to support something as evil and vile as that, Mexa. Definitely, I definitely hope you're not writing this down. I hope you're not taking a pencil and a piece of paper and writing down the Pirate Bay and a
How do you
torrent
think I watched
downloader.
Shazam? Or do you think you went to the cinema to watch that movie? Are you kidding? No, but in Mexico is nothing is basically
Dude,
illegal.
Mexico doesn't give two hoots about copyright, okay?
Mexico doesn't give like
It's so
any.
funny. You'll walk
any
down the
craps
street
about
and like
anything.
just the stores on the street will just have like blatant copyright violations. They'll have like the Avengers logo for their store. It's called the Avengers store and they sell tacos, right? It's like
Yeah, they literally will call, Thanos tacos or something like that, and they will sell in
Thanos
that
stuff.
place. They will sell the pirated movies and a lot. They used to sell a lot when nowadays everyone just uses internet, so they don't
Yeah.
sell as much as before. But when it was the DVD era, oof,
Mm.
you could see movies. Like movie was on the cinemas, and you could just get it for 20
Well,
pesos. And
you can get like 50 movies on one DVD. They'd have those
Mhm.
little plastic things. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those were good,
Yeah.
the good times.
People selling them out of their trench coats.
You can still do that in Mexico, and actually, you can get like when you go to places, we call them fayuca, is where you buy stuff that is, let's just say, not original, but it's like pretends to be original, and there's some pretty good quality in those places. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, you gotta be careful because sometimes it'll be like someone took a camera to the movie theater and it's super bad quality.
Yeah, but sometimes it's like, holy moly, someone took that good camera to the movie theater and a good like mic,
Yeah.
and it's like decent.
I do not support piracy. It's very bad.
It's not good. I
Um,
actually try to pay for everything I can, but when you cannot get it because it's Mexico, it's like
yeah,
you have no other choice. Mhm.
yeah, paying for things is tight. Um, Speaking of Amazon Prime, though, Top Gun Flippin' Maverick is on Amazon Prime right now, and my wife finally watched it with me, and
Nice.
I cried. It's so beautiful, such a good movie. It was so refreshing after having to sit through the Mandalorian episode 4, and and then I got to watch a real film. Um, Stephanie was crying.
Oh,
It's such a good movie. It you get the perfect, the sacrifice and it hits all the right notes. It is perfection.
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick deserved all of the money that it
Well, it's
made.
not perfection, but it's a movie that
It's
certainly has
perfection.
your blood pumping. That I don't remember that feeling of going to the cinemas and actually like being excited about an experience.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
holy moly, yes, go Tom Cruise and do that thing that I don't know what's called, but go ahead and do it. And
It was so tight. It was
go
so
back
good.
to Jennifer Connelly and
Mm.
he's that sweet ass.
Yes.
Yeah, them white girls.
I was like, wife, I love you, and I would never leave you, but I just wanted to point out that Jennifer Connelly is the perfect woman. If we're just talking like physical qualities, that is my ideal woman.
I never liked her thing in her lip. Like she has like a a spot on her lip. I never
She
was a fan
she
of that.
has she has aged like fine wine because there isn't any plastic in her. Okay, she's perfect. Mark,
If you say
it's
so.
go back to Amazon Prime and finish it.
She
Finish
has the
it.
but
best eyes that
it's
I've
like
seen in an actress, probably. Hmm.
Um. Oh yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah,
really
Shazam.
Shazam.
Yo, there
It's
was
fine.
like I don't
It's
know
good.
if they did the same thing in your country, but in Mexico, the main like cinema chain, they had like this promo where you could get a bigger combo instead of big popcorn. You get the jumbo ones, by saying Shazam like in the movie, screaming it. And it was like a
Oh,
whole
that's
big
fun.
thing. That was actually a great campaign because there
If you
was a
just
meme.
if you just
A,
embarrass yourself publicly,
yeah,
you
yeah.
get a
But
free
a guy
right?
made a meme, and that meme went so viral that everyone was wanted to watch. That probably the second biggest or the biggest market of Shazam is going to be Mexico because everyone wanted to watch the movie just because of the meme. Because the guy, I don't know if you have heard of a singer named Chajan. If you text makes
Mm.
you probably no
Chajan? No.
Chajan. Yeah, just Google Chajan Shazam and and
But
this
he's
this guy was supposed to scream Shazam, and he screamed Chayanne, and everyone was like, "Holy moly." Chayanne
Right.
is like a singer that every Mexican in no every person in Mexico knows who Chayanne is because he's like a Mexican like superstar.
Okay.
Yeah, he has some funny songs and some pretty good ones, but some ones that are like too Mexican. There's he has a song called Torero, like bullfighter in Spanish, torero, and it's so ridiculously Mexican.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, that was the funniest thing about the movie, to be honest. The promo. Yeah, I mean,
That is good marketing. It's good marketing.
yeah, you save like good 50 pesos, get bigger popcorn. That was good marketing. I agree. But yeah, I enjoyed my watch. I would not watch it again, not at all. But it was a fun time.
Mhm. I think I'd rewatch it.
The problem is, I think if I rewatch it, I'm going to find way more problems than there actually
Maybe.
are. So I think that the first experience was the best.
There was a legitimately just hilarious joke though. There were a couple good jokes, but the best joke was the gay joke. Do you remember which one I'm talking about?
No,
It was hilarious.
I'm gonna go back and rewatch it
It's
then
well
because
because one of the it's not doesn't spoil any of the plot. It's just a really really good joke. The one of the foster kids is gay, and they like during the finale, their parents get roped up in the they don't know that they're the superheroes, and but they have to go protect them, and so they run into their parents' bedroom, and they're all in their Shazam altered selves, and their parents are freaking out. They're like, no, 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 it's us. It's like it's time that we have to come clean about our secret. And they're like, we're superheroes, except for the one guy says I'm gay, and it was legitimately hilarious. And
I
they're like,
remember.
whatever,
Yeah,
and then everyone just looks at him like, yeah, we know. It's not.
I just remember, and the guy's like
It
this
was.
chubby Mexican
Oh yeah,
guy.
it was
Oh, that was
legitimately funny. It was
that
a
was
really
something
good
also
joke.
weird that the mother, the foster mother was like Mexican or something like that, and she talked with this really thick accent sometimes, and then she forgot the accent, and then her boyfriend is like probably the one that was supposed to be Mexican, and he looked Hawaiian.
Yeah, he's
But
Polynesian for sure.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
The
exactly.
dad's Polynesian and she's some kind of Hispanic. I don't know
Yeah,
if
yeah,
it's
yeah.
from Spain or whatever, but
I always say that Mexicans race the same.
the next it's all
We
the
all the
same.
same. We are all the same. Yeah.
You people all look the same. All right. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it's definitely worth watching. It's weird.
It is.
Um,
It is worth supporting this movie because, well, never mind. There's a woke moment. They're talking something like girl power, something stupid like that.
it wasn't
Uh,
too bad.
it wasn't that bad. Yeah, it's
The,
the only moment in the movie that I was like, rolling my eyes. But the
a
rest of the
lot
movie
of
was good.
people complained about the product placement, like the
Uh-huh.
but I thought it was funny. Like it was very tongue in cheek, and they were obviously it to me. It felt like they were making fun of that kind of product placement because it was so like obvious.
Obvious.
It was. I thought it was. Thank you, Mark. We'll put it in his piggy bank.
Yo, I don't know where you Americans got the word coyote because we use pollero. We don't call them coyotes, we call them polleros, which is chicken
Yeah,
smuggler basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So weird.
that's what a coyote does.
Yeah, exactly.
Steals chickens.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I think
Sometimes
that's
against their will, and that sucks.
yeah. I think coyote is a term for the American states along the southern border.
Because
They want
there
to see
are a
West
lot of
Mexico.
coyotes there, probably.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially in Texas.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I liked Shazam. It's worth watching. I
Hmm.
had a fun time in theater,
Yeah, it's
and
worth
I have
supporting.
and it's been a while since I've since I've had a good time in theaters. So, it was
Yeah, and the next movies are probably going to be like really bad, Dungeons and Dragons and for
yeah,
the Flash and
yeah. Dungeons and
well, Mario
Dragons.
Mario movie is looking good.
I already have tickets for Elliot and I to go see Mario on the Saturday opening weekend.
Nice.
Um, D&D opens this weekend on Friday,
Oh yeah,
Mm.
you're
so
right.
I'll
Gotta watch
probably
it.
I'll probably end up watching it the next week on the
Mhm.
Tuesday because it's cheaper.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it, and
Well,
I'm going to definitely make a review about that. But like, non-biased review, yeah, someone that haven't really played
Mhm.
Dungeons and Dragons at all because Mexico we don't have that kind of fancy stuff. But yeah, I am hoping that it's terrible, and
Mario
that
comes out on the 5th of April,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and John Wick 4 is already in theaters, and I've heard it opened this weekend. I've heard it's really good, and I have not had time to watch it.
John Wick 4, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was deciding between watching that or watching Shazam, but I was like, okay, we're gonna talk about it. Let's just watch Shazam because I haven't watched many of the John Wick movies. To be honest,
It-
I
I'm
don't find
I've heard
the
I've heard nothing but good things. Like if you like the John Wick, it's more of that, and
yeah. It's just that
it doesn't look like it would have a lot of discussion anyway. It's just a solid action movie with
Mhm.
Keanu Reeves
yep.
with a bunch of killing and death. If you like that kind of
Yeah. The thing is, I love Keanu Reeves, or at least I used to love him until I watched Resurrections. I hated that movie. I hated his acting. Then I
stuff.
watched way more movies with his acting. I watched a movie where
He's
he's
got to be in the right
kidnapped.
role, or it
I watched
doesn't work.
a movie where he got kidnapped by two girls and Ana de Armas and stuff. That was a pretty weird movie.
Knock
I
knock.
wish I wish I hadn't seen that, but the final scene was cool, and that's the only reason to watch that movie where he's like in the sand and screaming with his mouth cover.
Yeah, Point Break is a classic, which I have actually never watched. I've never seen Point Break. I haven't seen
Point
it.
Break is the first movie, right? That the movie that shoot him into stardom.
Definitely one of the first. It might be the first. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean not the first, literally the first movie. I think he was like
No,
an
no.
extra, or
Um, um,
he was in a comedic
Bill and Ted was
romantic
definitely before
comedy.
Point Break, right?
Hmm.
He was a lot younger than that.
Yeah, I think so. Bill and
Oh,
Ted was one
That's
of
the
his
first
early
Johnny,
one.
ones.
Johnny. There's a movie called Johnny something, right? Mnemonic, Johnny Mnemonic,
Johnny
something like that.
Mnemonic. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
weird.
he was on that. Yeah, that's a wacky one. It's so
Yeah.
it's like bad good, but it's not bad at all. It's
Yeah.
really weird.
He's definitely. There are roles that he excels at, and some that he's not great at.
John Wick is
I
one of the ones that he's good at.
I
I
think he
like
was.
him as a person. He's definitely like one of those actors where you're like,
Mhm.
this guy's a good person. Which
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I don't even mind his acting.
he's a
I just
great
want to support
guy
the guy.
outside of acting.
Yeah.
Um, I thought he was perfectly cast as the alien from the day the Earth stood still. Actually, um,
Oh, that was the only reason why the movie was good because of his acting as the alien. But he's
because he
good.
doesn't have emotions.
Yeah, exactly. He's good
Yeah.
not showing any emotion, but when he shows some emotion,
Mhm.
yeah, let's just say he's not DiCaprio.
I thought he worked well in the first three Matrix movies because it's supposed to be kind of emotionless,
Yeah,
and I think he's kind of matured in his old age. And I think he's definitely a lot better at emoting now in the John Wick movies. And even though it's not exactly like a drama, he does the action well. And man, he learns the action. He practices with real guns, and he knows
yeah.
his stuff.
That's why
Yeah.
all the action looks legit on his movies. Every action scene is like a piece of art, and it's a painting, and because he knows what he's doing, he wants to know what he's doing. That's the important thing. He wants to know. He's interested in those things. He loves martial arts. He loves motorcycles. He loves guns. So
He's a cool guy.
Yeah, he's a
He seems like the
freaking
kind of
cool
guy who would be really fun to hang out with and just talk to.
guy. I wish.
So yeah, I will definitely see John Wick 4 eventually. It's not like high on my priority just because I feel like there's nothing to discuss. It's just a good action movie.
Yeah.
So I will. Yeah, I'm not going to see D&D this week, but I will see it for the next.
Yeah, I definitely want to try to make the opening date because I'm also curious to see how many people will actually go to see that movie in Mexico. Because, like I said, nobody freaking knows what Dungeons and Dragons are in Mexico. Like,
Yeah.
1% of the population probably plays Dungeons and Dragons, and most of them are either Americans or sons of Americans or daughters of
Yeah,
Americans.
it's definitely not as well known outside of the United States. It does have the benefit of having dragons in the title, though, and people know what dragons are. So, it might not.
Yeah,
be
but they don't know what dungeons are.
People don't know what dungeons are. They've seen 50 Shades of Grey. What are you talking about?
Oh dear, I was afraid that might be going that direction.
Yeah. So, I watched Shazam. It was pretty good. I watched me some Top Gun Maverick. It was pretty good. Oh, I did. I rewatched Zack Snyder's Justice League. I really like it. It's a really good movie.
Oh, I watched some of the movies. Wait, what movie you said?
Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Oh yeah,
It's dope. It slaps. It's really good.
Yeah, I always love to watch those.
And what's
two
crazy
movies
is
in
I strongly
sequence.
dislike two of the main actors. Like Ray Fisher is an annoying prick,
Cool.
and Ezra Miller, the guy who plays Cyclops.
Oh, for real?
Like I don't like him. I don't like Ezra Miller as a person.
Oh yeah,
but-
I remember.
but
You know
his
that
performances in the movie are really good.
he has a good director. You can, directors make a lot of great work with actors, especially Zack Snyder. I think he's pretty good at that.
Yeah.
300 was. That movie is still to this day. You can go watch it and feel most of the same feelings that you felt the first time you saw it. So, such a freaking great movie. And that's Zack Snyder. That breathes and it feels like Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder excels at framing. He's really, really good at making like an awesome shot that looks like it was just pulled from a comic book. Like he's great at just getting the framing right and getting the posing and that's the action shot. Like that looks
Yeah. If I was a betting man, I
he
would
does
say
struggle a little bit when it comes to storyboarding and stuff like that and pacing, but he really does know his visuals very, very well.
yeah. And when the visual is so pretty and the acting is good and the story is at least a little bit interesting, you don't mind the 3 hour, 4 hour movie. You don't mind the 4 hours of Justice League.
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I wish it was 4 hours in the cinematic release because, boy, that movie, the Joss Whedon movie, oof.
It's rough. It's real bad.
Yeah,
very bad.
I tell you, I love watching those movies. Like first, I watched the Zack Snyder one, and then I watched the Joss Whedon and see the downgrade, and it's so funny.
It's insane how vastly different it
It's
is.
night and day.
Yeah.
The first scene where Superman is with the CGI mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to try to replicate the beauty of that guy. What's his name? What's his
Henry
face?
Cavill.
Ah, yeah, Henry
Henry.
Cavill. I cannot believe I forgot his name for a second there.
Yeah.
We'll transition to some news, but I want to talk about the poll that's running right now. Which franchise is more dead? We've got 4 votes. We've got the MCU, the DCU, Star Wars, and Star Trek. And I think that's actually a pretty good discussion.
What's winning here?
The MCU is currently winning, but there's only 4 votes. So
Yeah.
you have to admit Star Trek has been dead for longer. But
I agree.
But does that constitute more dead?
I think that's a good question. I think Star Trek has been floundering for a while, and I don't think. I mean, Jared might disagree with us here, but I don't think.
And
I haven't
Picard
liked
3
anything
is
I've
actually
seen
doing
coming
really,
out.
really well. People seem to
That's
like
true
it.
too, yeah. But the
Um,
MCU has been just so many stinkers, one after another, and just can't seem to do anything right these days.
For me, it's on.
So-
I think it's a toss-up between the MCU and the Star Wars, and I don't.
See, like I said, I think Star Wars had done some disappointing things, but there's still some good in there. I did not like Boba Fett. I don't think there was hardly anything good about the Boba Fett show. Kenobi was disappointing, but there was still some nugget of good in there.
What?
I liked what they were setting up with
Reva?
No, not with Reva. The first part of the show.
That's what they were setting up. That's it.
I know. But all the stuff that they were doing with Kenobi itself, and I don't know. I thought it had some redeeming qualities. Yeah. It was just very disappointing in how it was pulled off. Reva was shoehorned in there when it shouldn't have been, and there were so many plot holes. It was ridiculous. Andor was freaking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get into the Mandalorian later, but
So here's
the first 2 seasons were great.
I actually haven't heard from anyone who enjoyed Below Decks.
I've seen a couple clips from Below Decks, and I was appalled at how terrible it is.
I'd be interested in hearing why you enjoy Below Decks. I haven't watched it. I was just uninterested. So,
is the cartoon or?
That's the cartoon version.
Oh,
like for me, it's probably one of those shows where, like, if it didn't have Star Trek on it, like you could watch it and like, okay, that's crude and kind of funny, but the fact that it has Star Trek in the name and the type of humor it's going for me, that's just fundamentally not Star Trek.
Yeah, I saw a couple clips from the Tchaikovsky virus animated one, and that was just disgusting.
Yeah.
So, no thanks.
Sad that is disgusting. Tchaikovsky is such a great musician.
It very well may be a good comedy, but from like it just that's not Star Trek to me. But so I'm very curious to see what you like about the show. If you want to comment again.
Yeah, I mean, looking at if you I can give you like the perspective of an international viewer, what were the 4 options? I forgot.
The MCU, the DCU, Star Wars, and Star Trek.
Okay. This is here because I was like, okay, Doctor Who, that shit is unknown outside of British and American and India, and I mean it was famous before, but right now it's like no one knows that shit. Star Wars.
You can only have 4 options in a YouTube poll, so I went for the symmetry of the 2 superheroes and the 2 sci-fis.
Yeah, Doctor Who would have been a good addition on there too.
Obviously, the big name there would have say Star Wars before the sequels. Well, not even before the sequels. Before The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Before that, everything was Star Wars was the franchise. Everything was Star Wars. The clothing. I remember that phase between the Force Awakens, and then it was Rogue One, and then it was The Last Jedi. Between that point, everything, my shoes, my clothes was Star Wars team. Everything was Star Wars team.
That was the same thing with the MCU.
To give Disney a chance too. Like
I
I enjoyed the last the Force Awakens the first time I saw it. Like I was pumped. I overlooked a lot of its flaws because I was like, it's more Star Wars, it's more Star Wars, and then it just, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's
I'm gonna. Yeah.
this isn't Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I never gave Disney a chance. I knew it was going to be garbage. They surprised me with Rogue One. I didn't like Force Awakens at all. I was like, okay, this is the copy, exact copy, with for modern audiences of Episode 4. Literally the same. I was like, and because I just watched the whole series before watching The Force Awakens, because this is a sequel. I gotta watch the trilogy, and
Right.
I haven't trilogy like in 3-4 years, because it's harder when you get older. You fall asleep easier when you eat. I don't know. You eat and then you fall asleep, and you're like, oh no, I have to watch it again. um, but yeah, I never gave a chance to Disney. I knew that they were going to this way, at least perhaps not Force Awakens, not Rogue One, but I was just waiting for the moment that they would screw up, and they did it big time with the Last Jedi. All my friends were like, "Oh, you're so negative. Why are you saying that Disney are going to ruin Star Wars?" And then they watched the Last Jedi with me, and I was like, "I told you so. I told you so." Oh yeah.
I may have a contrary opinion on this channel, I think, but I've never been a huge fan of the DCU, and
Mhm.
but I think that generally it was, at least when like the MCU stuff started coming out, it was the thing that not a lot of people really enjoyed. I don't know. I mean, I found that when I generally talk to people about like the DCU and the whole MCU stuff was going, that a lot of people didn't really enjoy those. Like, I think Superman was good, but then like Batman came out and it all started to kind of
Batman v Superman.
yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're
Batman,
right.
right? So like they were just
Yeah.
really poorly
No,
done, and so it
Have
was really
you have you
Suicide
seen the
Squad.
have you seen the
Suicide
extended
Squad.
version of
no.
Batman
So
v
that's the
Superman?
thing. I haven't.
It's actually
I haven't watched
better.
It's actually kind of good.
It's
pretty good.
better.
It's got
But-
flaws for sure. I definitely acknowledge a lot of the criticism that movie gets.
But I do have to say too, though, that I think like, well, I don't know, because I haven't seen any of them either. But there's been a lot of more DCU stuff come out lately too, like Morbius, right? That's DCU.
No,
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 that's
no, no, no.
That's
That's Marvel.
Marvel.
No, sorry, that's MCU because
That's
that goes
the
into
that's
Spider-Man.
the
that's the Sony Marvel. Yeah.
yeah,
I know it
that's
feels like DC. Trust me, I thought
Yeah,
that was-
see, but that's the thing. So I think like a lot of times there's a lot more Marvel out there than there is DCU, and
Yeah.
a lot of what has been DCU hasn't been very impressive,
Yeah.
except for stuff like the Snyder cut, right, and all of that particular version where you start to see the DCU shine.
And
but
all
other than
their
that,
all their
I've been like, eh.
I
Yeah.
mean, they also did have the Batman,
and the Joker,
and Joker,
but
and
they're completely separate from the DCU.
they're not really part of the DCU. But
Is that DCEU? That's what I was wondering. Actually, is that
That's
DCEU
whatever the hell it
or
is. I don't know.
DCU?
Elseworlds.
Yeah.
Or just DC movies? DC movies, Marvel movies, and Star
Technically,
Wars
the poll
movies.
said DCU, so it just be the Snyderverse.
The
I'm
new
talking
no,
about
whatever.
that's
is coming up.
franchise.
Yeah.
The,
DC.
this
movies.
is the Gunnerverse.
Oh, something else I noticed. Now you mentioned Captain Marvel, Mark Clark. They call Captain Marvel. They call Shazam Captain Marvel like twice in the movie.
That was his original name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good. No, I was
was-
saying I was
Yeah.
good. I felt like yeah, Captain
There-
Marvel.
There was
They
a
used
little
to be-
nod. There was a little nod to his original title.
Yeah. I was. I
He
really
played
liked
off as a
that.
joke.
They did it. They did it good.
Yeah. Yeah, that was his
because-
original name, and DC created that character specifically so that Marvel, they would have it before Marvel, and then there was a lawsuit, whatever, and they eventually renamed it
purchased
Shazam.
You had to
Purchased
rename
the
it.
name back. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty hilarious. But yeah, Captain Marvel was Shazam's original superhero name. So
Yeah, but technically they can say that because Marvel is a word, right? Marvel is a word, so you
right,
can just say Captain Marvelous. Marvel,
Yeah.
Captain Wonderful, something like that. Wonder.
exactly. Yes, and
Um,
Mark Clark. I did hear that Brie Larson has been terrible to work with in this new Marvels movie, and she's there's rumors that she's leaving. I don't know if that's true or not.
I hope
Yeah.
so.
There was rumors that she was terrible to work with in the first one. So I mean,
Yeah,
Well, that's why they didn't make a sequel to. It's not called Captain Marvel 2. It's called the
it's
Marvels.
the Marvels,
They're
and
replacing her.
yep, they're having Miss
Imagine,
Marvel and other.
imagine that. It's just like the news of Jonathan Matters. I don't know if you want to mention that
Oh yeah,
later.
yeah. I have it pulled up. Yeah.
Nice, nice. It's just like that you build your entire franchise on one guy or one girl, like Captain Marvel, and then blows up on
Yeah.
your
Yeah,
face.
let's do news. That's like
I
the
was gonna
second
say,
story.
we've been
Hold
trying
up.
to transition to that for like 20 minutes. So let's go.
Well, we had to talk about the poll first, man.
You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I just wanted to say the to make a summary of what I wanted to say, so it doesn't take longer.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
We're dead.
Star Wars was the biggest one, but it's going to die. It's not dead yet. DCU was never alive, and James was never alive. Had neither legs or arms, and James Gunn is trying to literally revive it. Like, spoiler alert, certain ending of certain movie.
It's kind of crazy how they're all in the same place right now. They're almost all in the same position, and they all and they weren't ever close before.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
MCU and Star Wars have had such a huge downfall that it's
Basically, DCU,
Yeah.
like Jared said, we never. When was there a movie from DC that was decent? And I don't, we can talk about the 2000s movies where DC was way. I mean, you can talk about Batman,
yeah, those don't count. You can't
but they
can't
don't
count
count.
the you can't
Yeah,
count the Nolan trilogy.
no, yeah, that was not DCU.
That was
Yeah,
those were Batman movies. It wasn't a cinematic
yeah,
universe.
and their own
It started with
beautiful
Superman.
universe, their
Yeah,
own beautiful
Man of
universe.
Steel.
Man of Steel, and then the rest, and only Man of Steel, like you said, the first one was, and even then, if you rewatch it, like if you watch it 3 times, you're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to think the same about that movie.
I liked it better the second time I watched it.
Yeah, the second time, but the
But
third time I was like,
I've only seen it twice.
You have to watch it 3 times because in the third time it's like, okay, yeah, now this is a little bit boring. That's the thing. It becomes boring. But there are a lot of movies that you can watch 3, 4, 6, 7 times, and they are never boring. Like
I do think
Top Gun
the
Maverick.
intro is freaking dope, where you get to see Krypton. And
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah. No.
I
it's
really like what he did with
really
that.
really
The
good.
problem is the middle of the movie, where they go to the Arby's or something like that, and they destroy the. Oh, that part is so painful. But whatever, it felt like Power Rangers, the movie. I don't know if you guys watched the newest Power Ranger movie where
No,
they
I
go
haven't.
to
But they're rebooting the original
they go
series
to
at Netflix, I
Dunkin'
believe.
Donuts, I think. I know
Uh,
Krispy Kreme. They go to Krispy Kreme,
Yeah,
and they have a villain eating a Krispy Kreme, donut while they was fighting in the part of, that's the most disgusting product placement I've seen in my life. More disgusting than the Skittles one in Shazam too.
I thought the Skittles worked really. I thought it was very tongue in cheek.
It was really good until the point of the Skittles. Like, the whole joke about the unicorns being like this
Yeah.
monster, this mythical creature that eats monsters, something like that, is so violent and so disgusting, creature. And then it like Skittles. That's the bad part of the joke, the Skittles. The whole thing about the unicorns being not
Taste-
the
Taste the
pretty
rainbow.
pink thing. Yeah, taste the freaking rainbow.
I liked it.
I prefer the or whatever. But yeah, DCU was never alive. Star Wars is gonna die soon if they don't revive it somehow. The Mandalorian was their first attempt. Well, not the first attempt, but the latest attempt. I don't know if it's going to do so. Star Trek is trying, like I said, Star Trek was so alive in the past when it came but when it get to the 10,000 2000s 2010s, nobody remembered the franchise. In Mexico it was non-existent. Nobody knew what the Star Trek. Everyone thought, oh, Star Trek, you're talking about Star Wars, right? You're making a mistake or a typo, something that nobody knows what Star Trek is until the movies with bad
Yeah.
reboot. Yeah,
Abrams.
Yeah, Chris
yeah,
Pine.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Jar Jar Abrams, like
Yeah.
Jar Jar
Which
Abrams.
I don't know why they didn't continue on with that franchise. I know the last one, Star Trek Beyond,
Because the last
not
one
as
was
liked.
so bad that
I thought
everyone
it was
was
one of my favorite Star
no
Trek
way.
movies.
The finale where the
It was
Spock
good.
revives him with his blood.
Mhm.
No, I thought it was good. It was a good callback
Come
to
on.
There-
the original Search for Spock, or no, or was it
Oh
the end?
The
It was
original
either Search for Spock or
Search
was
for
the
Spock?
end of the Wrath of Khan. I don't remember.
well,
The Wrath of Khan was Into Darkness, David.
I know,
they-
but the ending to that was the reviving. Anyways,
No.
I don't know.
whatever.
The
Have you
Wrath of
seen The Wrath of
Khan.
Khan?
The Wrath of
Yeah.
Khan is such a
It's been years, but yeah,
emotional
Well,
movie.
the
in the
next
ending,
movie
right?
is he's not revived. They're searching for the search for
Search
Spock.
for Spock. Yeah,
So he's not.
I don't
He's
remember.
dead at the end of Wrath of
Yes.
Khan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They go in many lifetimes or whatever. They hold the speech about Spock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The
Go ahead.
Star Trek, the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies, they're not bad movies. They're bad Star Trek, and it could have been an opportunity to bring
Yeah.
a lot more new people into the franchise with a TV show that was like more faithful. And they went with Discovery, which has just been canceled. Discovery's gone.
What was 4 seasons long?
They're getting one more season. And it's gone. And shocker. So, but Picard is somehow season 3 has been really good because it completely changed. They tossed it off. They're like, oh, we've already ruined this one, so they gave it to some guy, and it turns out he actually was a fan of Star Trek and made it well.
Oh.
Like, oh, this was a mistake, but
Oh.
it's funny because it's making Kurtzman look really bad. Because it was the first one that he didn't have control over, and it's the only one that people like.
Yeah, and he's bringing people back to the franchise.
Yeah.
And
Anyway, news.
yeah,
News. Ant-Man and the Wasp. The box office run is it's already over. It's done. Which is officially the shortest MCU theatrical run of all time.
Really? Wow.
If you want to look at the numbers. Man, I've got some weird comments this week. I've got a stalker who's been commenting on every video, and it just has the worst takes. We might bring him up later. So Quantum Mania had one of the for the Ant-Man movies had the biggest opening, but it ended on. It didn't even make 500,000 million.
did way more than I
500
was
million.
expecting. To be honest, did way more than I was expecting.
That's funny. It has the largest opening, which is inflated because now they open on Tuesday night, right? It's ridiculous. It's not a weekend anymore. It's not. That's not an opening weekend.
Yeah.
You're open all week.
A week, yeah.
But we've seen this pattern, and I've been called out in the comments saying it's not true. It's not true. It's a verifiable pattern. Okay, with Marvel movies, there is a dedicated fan base that will go see Marvel movies opening weekend, but they no longer have the legs that they used to. So all the Marvel movies will have strong opening weekends and horrendous second week drops. That has been the case with every single movie in Phase 4 except for Spider-Man because it wasn't Marvel or it wasn't Disney. biggest opening compared to the second movie, right? You had it's bigger than that, and the first movie was a half, right? So it had the biggest opening, and it made the least amount of money. 466 million. Ant-Man 2 made 600. Ant-Man 1 made 500. That is really sad.
Yeah, and international numbers are really, really low to be a Marvel movie. Like, I don't know if they could send it to China. Maybe they couldn't because there was a black guy as the main villain. They didn't like it that
Yeah,
much in China.
it almost made the same domestically as it did internationally. Where
Yeah,
if you go to Ant-Man 2, it's double.
double.
internet.
Yeah, it's always double with every movie. It's double.
Yeah,
Avatar
it's
was
double.
like most of the money it did was internationally because, well, they don't care about the story. They care about pium 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 pium.
It is. This movie lost money. This didn't even recoup their production budget,
Definitely. Yeah.
and that's not even taking in advertising and reshoots and all of that stuff.
Yeah, because it was
It didn't even make
250.
the base.
Yeah.
So it's not good. Not a good sign. Also not a good sign is having your actor, who's supposed to be the big bad villain for all of the MCU, arrested for assaulting a woman
Uh-oh.
for strangulation.
He got too kinky in the bedroom.
Now it is. I will point out that the actor has denied all charges. This feels a little bit different from a Justin Roiland situation where it's not someone accusing him and taking him to court. There is physical evidence, which is why he was physically arrested. Like people saw this happen, and he was arrested. He has denied all charges, so obviously still innocent until proven guilty. This doesn't feel like one of those cases, though.
Yeah.
It's not a good sign. He's been trending on Twitter all week, in conjunction with Ezra Miller. Their names have been tweeted together, and I thought that this meme was pretty hilarious. Which I honestly,
What do you mean, you people?
honestly, if they did this, I would watch every single MCU.
That would be really funny.
I mean, they already had a Monkey King in the end credits scene, right? Like, just go into it, man.
And all week I saw the meme where they replace all the characters with white people. Black Panther, a white guy, and
I've got it pulled up.
oh yeah, we're so.
It might not be the one you saw, but I have a similar one pulled up.
No, but
there's a lot of Twitter pages
spirit.
I see there.
So good.
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people?
I need to watch Tropic
goodness.
Thunder again. It's so good.
I watched it like twice every month because it's just too good.
But speaking of Justin Roiland, he's been cleared of all charges.
Oh,
Yeah, he's the Rick and Morty creator.
Yeah, we brought it up. The case was thrown out. Now this isn't. There are different ways the case can get dismissed, right? If you go to mediation and you come to an agreement, the case can be dismissed. That is not what happened here. There were no money exchanged hands. No one was paid off to drop the case. This case was thrown out due to lack of evidence, which we said here on this show. It is too early to be canceling this guy.
yeah.
Yep.
I'm not even like the biggest Justin Roiland supporter. Like I think he gets a little bit too edgy with his jokes. I don't love all of Rick and Morty. I think there's some that are good and some that's like way too crude. Okay.
Yeah, newer seasons.
It's not like my personal favorite kind of comedy. Okay. But you can't just jump on the bandwagon and cancel a guy if a woman accuses him of something.
Yeah.
Turns out it was an ex relationship that was very bitter and made up lies, much like Christine Blasey Ford. Did you guys see that news article? She admitted
It did. She
that
admitted
she was
it was all
paid.
made up.
She was paid to make it up. Okay, Brett Kavanaugh is not a gang rapist. It was made up. And Justin Roiland tweeted out, "I've always known these claims were false and never had any doubt that this day would come. I'm thankful that the case has been dismissed. At this time, I'm still shaken by the horrible lies, which most people will still go on believing. If you ask 50% of the U.S. population what they think about Brett Kavanaugh, they will say, "Oh, isn't that gang rapist who's now in the Supreme Court?"
Yes, you said the word twice on the stream, bro. Careful.
We're an hour in.
We were an hour in when we said the P word several times in a row.
No. 2 weeks ago, we said pedophile right off the bat and
Did we?
repeatedly.
A lot of times, like half an hour in.
Yeah, interestingly though, last week's stream also got demonetized. That's I'll get into that in a little bit. After I finish the story, I'll talk about my adventures in demonetization this week. Yeah, no, it's like this is how cancel culture works. Like, you jump on the bandwagon, you cancel the person, and then afterwards, when you get them canceled before the truth can come out. This was his ex who was bittered, tried to have him canceled, and it worked. He got fired, and that's not okay. And I say this again, but not as a huge fan of Rick and Morty. Okay.
I was a huge fan of Rick and Morty until season 4, 5, perhaps. But yeah, I was a huge Rick and Morty guy. I enjoy Justin Roiland. I agree with you what you say, that he takes it too far sometimes, regarding things that there's some jokes that you shouldn't be telling because they are in bad taste. They don't even land, and he loves to do those kind of jokes. But yeah, I was so skeptical. I was saying, okay, that's pretty convenient that they just canceled the guy right after they accused him of something. Not even like, why haven't they canceled Jonathan Mayers? He's been arrested.
Yeah, that's the difference between Justin Roiland and Jonathan Mayers. There's a big difference. This was an accusation. Someone was suing him and taking him, and he was fired from all of his jobs. Jonathan Mayers has been arrested. Okay.
But if Justin Roiland was Mexican, he would not be canceled.
He just needed a little melanin in his skin.
Yeah, more melanin. Yeah. I mean, I totally think that this is woke privilege. Literally.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He was arrested for something, and
it's the same thing with Ezra Miller.
And it's disgusting because I read something this morning that the lawyer of Jonathan Majors, probably a lawyer from Disney, probably, is already going to attack the victim or the presumed victim. They are already attacking her, saying that she was disgruntled and that she was going through an emotional breakdown, something like that, and she made 2 letters, and that's all the physical evidence they have to arrest him. But yeah, well, I mean, you already know that this is coming when they go for the victim or the alleged victim. It really feels like Disney, a Disney move. But yeah, I don't understand. I know that they have built the entire universe around him.
Just like Ezra Miller. It's the exact same. They're building up the entire universe around him, but because they're part of a protected class.
Yeah, but this Ezra Miller, I mean, he was arrested, but his charges were thrown out because he's too big of a star, and he just got like 2 weeks.
Sure there are still charges against Ezra Miller.
Oh yeah, but
it hasn't been settled yet.
They got the family to stop the family of the girl that he was grooming. They got them. They paid them off, and they dropped charges. But he still broke into several people's houses. He still has burglary charges. So
yeah, and assault. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway. So let's see. YouTube is crazy right now. They definitely, with the transfer from Susan Wojcicki to I don't remember the guy's name. It's hard to pronounce. And I've experienced this on my channel too. They flipped a switch. The YouTube flipped a switch sometime 2 weeks ago last week, and it is insane. Brittany Venti's channel got removed for making anti-predator content. They said in their excuse, they said, "Oh, you're making predatory content by exposing predators." I believe it's been reinstated by now. For me personally, I have had 90% of my videos demonetized last week.
Really?
Yes, it has been. As of today, it doesn't look like it's a problem anymore. But so you have the for a little inside baseball, if you're curious, once your channel's monetized, there's a rating system where you can submit what you think video's monetization status should be. There's ad friendly, there's limited ads, and there's demonetized.
Like regular viewers can submit that for any video?
Me. I can do.
Okay.
When I put in a video, it says rate your video what you think it should be ranked.
Gotcha.
And you put in your ranking, and then YouTube does its computer ranking. And it takes, sometimes it takes a couple hours, sometimes it takes a day. It's usually pretty fast. Sorry, no, it usually just takes a couple hours. And then if your rankings match, you get like, hey, plus, right? And so you can pull up a list. It will judge your self judging, and if you get all of them right, it will start believing you more. It'll use your ranking input on videos. And so far, all but one of my videos was ad friendly. Like we try not to swear on the show. I don't, I keep things very tame. The one video that I knew should have been ad restricted is the video that I made on Wilson Fisk, because I show scenes from the show of him doing
gory,
very violent things. I'm like, this definitely meets limited ads, and they agreed. And so they were using my input and believing me when I say this is ad friendly. Until recently, one of my shorts, which I assumed was quite ad friendly, but it had to do with the alphabet community. It was the short where we had they called us Nazis if we weren't attracted to trans people.
Yep.
And so I had a short like that. I thought I was very tame.
You cannot say the E word apparently anymore in YouTube. Mm-hmm.
I thought what I said was very tame compared to what I've seen on YouTube, people saying. But that I rated that as ad friendly, and they said, nope, this is limited ads. And
they're probably going to do that.
Ever since that video, ever since the short came, it got by on here because this is like a 4-hour show. They don't skim it. I put out the short that got limited, and they said just from one video, even though I've released like hundreds and hundreds of videos that matched, because of that one video, they disagreed. They no longer received my input and started ad restricting everything.
Wow.
And so it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. They would say, this is ad restricted. I contested all of those. You can submit for a human review. And every single one of them was overturned. They eventually said, yeah, there's nothing wrong with this video. But it kept every time I would upload a new video, it would get ad restricted because they weren't taking my input. And then you'd go to the page where they have the matches, and they'd say, well, 10 of your last videos you said were ad friendly, but we said they're ad restricted, so we can't trust your input anymore, even though it would be changed 2 days later. And so it became a cycle of it didn't matter. There was always videos in my queue that disagreed with YouTube's monitoring system. And so they would be released ad restricted, wouldn't make any money. Then after they got all the views, they'd become ad friendly. So I lost a ton of money this week. Well, I wasn't making a ton of money. But eventually I sat down and I just uploaded like 30 videos to like queue for the week. And eventually I contested all of the restrictions, and eventually cycled through and got ahead of the
Nice.
curve. So enough of them agreed with YouTube to end the self-fulfilling prophecy cycle. Like
Wow.
it was insane. And it's totally different. Like you can see there's that a switch was flipped, and YouTube it's being insane right now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I did contest that other video, and they disagreed. They said it contained language that it doesn't, and the other ad restriction was it contains political content which some might find offensive. That could be literally anything.
Yeah.
So,
And it's probably
other solutions, no, there's literally nothing else you can do. I tweeted to them. I'm like, hey, how come you're restricting all this? And they responded, well, it looks like you've submitted human reviews, so wait till those happen. I'm like, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Rumble is not.
Like Rumble. Yes, I am on Rumble. I've mirrored my account to Rumble. It's taking a while to back up all my videos, but all the current all the videos for the last 4 weeks are on there.
Yeah, but engaging
Taking a
Rumble is
while.
not the same. You know,
It's
way
taking
better
a
in
while
YouTube.
So I'm not gonna start promoting Rumble until all of my back catalog is on there. But yes, I am on Rumble.
Nice.
I'm waiting for Elon Musk to do the thing with Twitter that you can now. You should be able to upload 4K videos and
That
things
should be
like
interesting.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a new YouTube.
Rumble's cool, and they're increasing a lot with viewership with Steven Crowder moving over to Rumble. So
Yeah,
it's
their
definitely future.
interface is
but-
definitely lacking, but
It-
it's
yeah.
got a long ways to go.
They have a lot of work to do, and I think for the first time there is an alternative insight.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem with Rumble is the growth with YouTube is way easier in a form. You know, if you
Yeah.
make a good video and it fits into a certain criteria and a certain algorithm, you get a lot of views and you get a lot of subscribers. But if you don't, you don't. Yeah, right. In Rumble, it doesn't work like that. It's more search based, and then based on your search, they give you options, other options, and they recommend you videos based on the things that you watch. So it's really hard. It's really easy to watch channels really big like Steven Crowder and things, but it's really hard to get to our channels that are smaller.
I think with his transition, though, a lot of people will go, and it definitely, and they have been showing their numbers, and they are growing pretty fast. So maybe it'll change. That'll be interesting to see. YouTube finally have some competition, and maybe they'll actually be forced to innovate.
Yeah.
Or
be
to
competitive.
relax.
Did you guys see this though? President Biden presented the National Medal of Arts to Mindy Kaling
¿Por qué?
for her work on Velma.
Oh my
No.
gosh.
This just happened.
Porque India.
March 22nd, dude. What else has she done other than The Office 30 years ago?
She had her
She had
own
The
a
Mindy
Kaling
show,
mini project
which
or
was
something.
and Velma.
disgusting.
Yeah.
And
This is
That's
Disgusting.
sad.
this is who we reward for the arts.
yeah, I mean, musicians are not that good as the past. So
Well, yeah, but just
Why not award Top Gun Maverick this
yeah.
medal? Tom Cruise single-handedly saved Hollywood. He saved theaters with Top Gun Maverick.
because it's a cult, she is part of the cult. That's why she's being rewarded. Tom Cruise is not part of the cult. He's part of another cult. But
I'm just
not
gonna
part
say
of this
That's a
cult.
different issue, but yeah.
Yeah, but,
I'm just
but
gonna
not
say-
part of this one.
the Thelma show was very much sexualizing little children, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Maybe that's something that that this guy's
Maybe
into.
that's something
I don't know.
Biden's into, huh? Anyway, more
Let you
stories.
draw the conclusions.
Did you guys see this? Talking about Doctor Who and how dead it is. Did you see their new announcement?
No,
Did you
what's
guys see
that?
this? I might have to share audio.
The
here.
greatest assassin? Are you kidding me? That's supposed to be an intimidating figure?
Yeah. But remember to pause
you guys,
every 20 seconds because of every something seconds.
I switched. Can you guys hear this?
Oh my gosh.
Yes?
No,
You
we
can hear?
can't hear that.
What?
Nope, can't hear it.
And thank God I cannot hear it.
Here we go.
Oh my
Thank
gosh,
the Lord.
That
Blame my
costume.
mother.
Yeah?
Yeah, we can hear it, unfortunately.
So this is Doctor Who. I don't know if you guys heard. It was actually canceled. Because
they?
of the last season with Jodie Whittaker, they officially canceled Doctor Who until it's not Stephen Moffat, the other one.
Russell T. Davis.
Russell T. Davis agreed to come back for the new season. Doctor Who was done.
I didn't hear that.
The only reason it's still alive is because Russell T. Davis agreed to come back.
Yeah,
And
I think you
and
said it
David Tennant.
actually in a previous video.
It does look like Moaning Myrtle. You're right, and it's not.
No, she's actually a decent actress.
Yeah. I watched her in something recently.
She was in a Doctor Who episode, actually. That
Yeah,
was
she was in a
very
Doctor Who episode.
awkward episode.
It's not
She
a
got-
great episode, but
got
she was
turned
good
into
in
a
that
tile.
episode.
Yeah.
She was good in it. Yeah, she was in some other movie I watched. I was like, oh, she was really good in that. Okay, so this is how they're saving Doctor Who. With this announcement, it's going to be a multimedia thing. So it's going to books, comics, and audio dramas. Not anything in the TV show because this is so bad. But it's supposed to drum up hype for Doctor Who, and it's
The
kind of
costuming is so bad.
just here it is. This is gonna save Doctor Who, everyone.
The scenes
Hi,
don't even match up.
I'm Doom. Blame my mother. I'm the universe's greatest assassin, and in one day I'm going to die.
Let's pause it for a second.
What the hell is
Gee.
that?
David, that is the universe's greatest assassin.
Why does she have a
I
freaking
know,
monocle? What is that?
It's a monocle mole.
I mean,
It's
but
a
look at this costuming. Like, you can see the stitches.
Yeah.
It's folded over. It doesn't even match. Like,
That's
I
polyester.
could
Look
sew
at
that better.
that.
Like, what
Look
the hell
at
is that?
right here. You can see it's coming
Look
off.
at that.
So this is the world's greatest assassin in one. Her
What?
name's Doom. It's her mother's fault.
That's
and,
not even leather.
In one day, she's going to die. Here we go. Yeah, it's not even leather. It's just.
I
it's
hope
like-
she does.
Die, unless I can find the doctor. Someone sent death, literal death, after me. I can only outrun it for 24 hours. So, the clock's ticking. My vortex manipulator sends me a new target every hour.
What the
Oh
hell
my
is this?
god.
This
David,
looks
this
like
is-
one of those terrible
this
videos
is
that you see on
entertainment.
an amusement ride when you go to some cheap amusement ride or museum and they play
Yeah.
a little video. Like remember the Natural History Museum? They had
Yeah.
that elevator you went through time, and it
Yeah.
was this cheesy
The
actor
time
like,
elevator.
"Oh my goodness, there's dinosaurs outside of this elevator. Be
That was
careful.
better than
Whoa!"
that was better than this though.
That
was
sounds
actually kinda dope.
freaking better.
Freaking
That
bad, dude.
sounds dope. That sounds better. This sounds like a skit on Community. It literally looks like the whole skit with Community with the super cheesy android and robots. I mean,
Yeah.
eradicate.
This is gonna save
Yeah.
Doctor Who, everybody. Let's
Oh my
keep
gosh.
going.
The Lesser Order of Oberon sends me a lot to choose from, and I'm picking the missions that'll maybe bring me to the doctor. 24 hours, all of time and space. Will I find the doctor? Ancient enemies, old friends, or maybe I'll go out in
What
flames.
is that?
Gosh.
What is that
bad.
acting,
Not
man?
only is the
Like-
acting terrible, the costuming is terrible, but the plot is she's an assassin and in order to save herself, she's going
She
to
has
take
to
up
find the
assassinating
doctor.
jobs to find the doctor to save her life from death. Who's hunting
Why does
her.
she need to
Like-
take assassin jobs? Why not just look for the doctor?
Exactly. Like, what the hell is this? Oh
Yeah,
my
she probably-
gosh.
It feels like the
This
plot
is so
of
bad.
that movie.
I'm
Money.
really glad that I can share this.
Time.
With you guys.
Time. The movie
Oh,
Time.
gosh.
It seems like the plot of movie Time.
In time.
In Time. Yeah.
Justin Timberlake one.
Yeah, exactly. With
That
That
one
with
movie's,
actually-
that movie's actually dope. I
That
love
one,
In Time.
I like that
had a
movie,
really good
yeah.
Cheesy as heck.
premise.
yeah.
It-
People
I did-
flame that movie, but I like it.
It was
Amanda
not executed
Seyfried?
well, but it was a wonderful premise. I loved the premise of that movie.
Yeah, Amanda Seyfried is.
This
I
I can't
look at-
believe how terribly bad this is. This is so bad. And Doctor Who has never been one for quality. It's cheesy
It's always
all
been
around,
cheesy. Yeah.
but it's
It's
good
never
at
been-
heart.
This is not cheesy though. This is cringy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Keep going.
cringe.
A lot
indeed.
of flames.
A lot
Well,
of flames. I'm gonna be burned up in a lot of flames. This is my scared face.
Yeah, she.
I'm gonna
my-
die in 24 hours.
She looks like if a shark
Does it look like
metamorphed
I'm
into a human.
scared?
This is real bad.
it'll be better than what's coming for me. If you see the doctor, tell them I'm on my way.
Oh wait, it
He's
reset.
so
guys.
skinny.
It reset. The time reset.
Oh
Did it
yes,
really?
it did. Yeah, yes.
What was it at when she closed it?
I thought it was 24
at
hours.
30.
Oh, it
Well,
paused. No, it
yeah,
didn't
that's right.
reset. It just didn't. It paused.
Yeah, it paused basically. Yeah.
It didn't progress.
It did. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
the same time as when you stopped.
That's hilarious.
So it started at 24. Started counting down a couple seconds. Oh no! Okay, those aren't.
Yeah, maybe
those
not.
Aren't, those are seconds. Those aren't.
Yeah, those are
milliseconds.
seconds.
Okay.
That
I
could have
thought
been.
it
you're
goes
right.
from
Those
50
look
to
like
30,
milliseconds.
okay.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
mean,
It's counting down.
like where
Dude,
go,
That
but
was close though.
they put thought into that, and they couldn't put any more effort in the rest of the freaking.
I don't know if you guys caught on. Might have gone past your radar, but the whole point of this was to establish that the doctor's non-binary.
I caught that at the end. Tell
What?
them. He said if you see the doctor, it didn't say tell him, it didn't say tell her, it said tell them.
Well,
I'm
actually,
looking for.
that was kind of part of the lore, anyways, with this last season. With this last season,
I don't give
Which
a
is
rat's
where-
hoot about the last season.
yeah. But anyway,
Yeah. No, I hear you. It's kind of ridiculous. They did announce that the newest Black Doctor is going to be the first
Non-binary.
non-binary doctor. So
The doctors are them now, everybody. This is so this is Suze Kemper. This is her Twitter. Hello, new followers. You're probably here because I'm part of the Hooniverse now. Welcome. I post a lot about politics and trans rights, dress up as other people, and I sing a lot. If I make you cringe, then good. Welcome. This is saving Doctor Who.
yay, so brave.
So brave.
She's gonna induce a lot of cringe.
Yeah,
During-
that's.
Oh
I
shoot!
just want
I
to
wish.
say that.
Sorry,
that
I wasn't
costuming-
sharing the screen.
Oh my god!
That was the tweet I was reading.
Oh,
What
I thought
the
thought
hell?
you were just riffing. She actually posted that.
Yes,
Wow.
My god!
I had to
that's
switch. I had to
sad.
switch screens to do the audio. I did this last time too, and I forgot
Yeah.
to pull up the
That's-
article I was reading.
Her
That's
account says
terrible.
comedian,
I just
but
want to
with
say, I think that
quote unquote.
costuming is worse than old school Doctor Who when they had a sock over their heads and call it a Cyberman. Is that freaking Sonic the Hedgehog?
I don't know.
yes, he's supposed to be.
Comedian
Oh my gosh.
in quotes. That's
In quotes,
that's
yeah.
appropriate.
Yeah.
That's
sure.
actually smart. Yeah,
It's Doom and Doctor Who, and I don't care about the rest. So.
Oh gosh.
she her.
That's
Mhm.
so cringy.
Oh no, you're she her. Oh no way! I thought you were a man.
She is.
She's a man. My
you
God.
never know these days, Nexa.
Yeah, she had titties like a girl.
You're on the money. Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, don't make that a short because they're gonna demonetize it again.
I'm glad
That's a
that we
good
can
one, too.
finally feel
I love that
represented.
meme. Mm-hmm.
We can identify with a freaking robot truck.
Or with everything, yeah.
Halle Bailey, the actress for the new Little Mermaid, actually did an interview where she said, "I had no problem identifying as a mermaid to do my acting for the show," which is weird because she's not a mermaid. So I didn't think you were allowed to identify with someone that you weren't.
You can because
Kind of destroys the whole narrative you're going for. Anyway, here's more memes to soften the blow. We've got
yeah, that's the
a
one.
couple new movies that were announced. We got Ryan Gosling as Barack Obama. Anthony Hopkins as Nelson Mandela. I think that's my personal favorite, if I'm being honest. I would watch that movie. It would be very entertaining. He's done acting, right? He's not acting anymore. Oh man, I miss.
Yeah, he's retired. Yeah.
Viggo Mortensen, 12 Years a Slave.
I mean, he's
actually,
a slab.
I spoke too
So...
soon. I forgot that Mark Wahlberg as Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Is my
that was my favorite. Yeah, that was my favorite.
I love how Ryan Gosling is in both of them.
And
he's both Martin Luther King and Barack Obama.
Yeah,
and there's two
white,
people cast as Obama.
Oh yeah,
because Hollywood does. They'll have two studios will compete for the same movie.
Yep.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale makes better Obama, in my opinion.
Why does it matter?
But Mel Gibson makes a better Martin Luther King.
You'll never see this, but you constantly see it go the other way. Double standards. It's because they don't actually mean what they say when they say, "Oh, why does the skin color matter?" Well, it definitely matters to one person in that conversation.
Yeah,
it definitely matters to the people who keep on insisting that they change it,
and it matters only to people that wants them to be brown. You know, I don't know why it only matters when they are brown.
Yeah. Okay, which actually race swapping can be an interesting creative choice. I actually liked the race swapping in the Hamilton Broadway musical, simply for the fact that it could be making a statement that Black history is American history,
and also that you
Denzel
don't want
Washington has stated.
Also, you don't want to hear white guys rap. So
that's true too. Yes, but yeah, I thought that was an interesting choice, and I didn't mind it in that case.
Because they are good.
I don't know. Eminem's pretty good at rapping. You know, they probably could have gotten someone like that.
Yeah. Here's the thing: we've got two. We've got Eminem and Macklemore, and that's it. If
Macklemore,
they can rap. Okay.
What's the new guy that's coming up? McDonald guy or whatever.
No, it's
Tom
called.
McDonald. Yeah, he's good.
Tom McDonald.
No, but also what's his name?
Those are the only rappers I know of.
Well, he's half black.
Okay. The point is there aren't very many good white rappers. There's a whole lot of good black rappers, okay?
True that.
You can't take the exception as the rule, okay?
That's true.
Eminem is an exception. You guys heard Trump is going to be indicted and arrested, right?
Did hear that.
I did hear that.
News, yeah.
Did you guys know what it's for?
Mm-mm.
I believe it's for a mattress tag that he removed in 1997.
Hey, that's beyond the statute of limitations. I don't know what they're talking about.
Say hi to the Certis.
So is the current trial.
Yeah.
It's already beyond the statute of limitations, and it's not true. But I don't. This was also in the news. Trump is actually going to get out of indictment because for a little known legal loophole where you avoid indictment by not committing a crime. So there you go. It's a little loophole. That's all the news I have this week. Vanilla Ice. That he's black, isn't? Oh no, that's Ice Cube. I don't know. I never listened to Vanilla Ice. Is he good at rapping? I don't really do rap. I'm It's not my jam. I can appreciate a good rap song.
Logic.
I don't actively seek out rap. Oh yeah, I've heard a Logic song. It was pretty
Logic is a great. Well, he's half black, so he doesn't count.
good. Okay, doesn't count. You're
But
out of there.
his
And I've
skin
never
is
heard
white.
of NF, but
Who is
apparently
NF?
he's a good white rapper. I wouldn't know. I could count on one hand the number of rap songs that I like. So
I used to like Kanye until he got mad.
Okay. Well, we've got the Mandalorian, and we've got bad takes, and we've got books. Jared's here.
Hey.
word it.
Can we
Lexa,
do
you
bad
don't-
takes and then because I haven't seen the manga and I don't read.
Right.
You're fine.
I don't know how
Yeah.
to read.
I didn't space out the I should have started with news and then talked about Shazam, because now we're gonna have a bunch of articles all grouped together, and that's okay. So we'll segue real quick with books I read this week.
Oh, since you talked already about Shazam, can I just say that I liked Shazam? I don't know what all
Yeah.
you said about it.
Yeah, it
but
was good.
It was. I really had a fun time with it. It was very enjoyable.
It wasn't a great film, but
Oh,
it was
no.
good.
Yeah, very
That
enjoyable.
was the
Like,
gist.
again, not perfect. Had some weird things in there, but like, it got emotional a couple times. It was really fun. Good action, stuff like that. So yeah. Anyway,
I
just
think
wanted to
for-
toss my 2 cents in there since you guys have already
For the
talked
most
about
part, it functions as a comedy, which is what it was trying to do.
I don't think it's deserving the lack of success it's getting. I think it should be succeeding more than it is.
Yeah, go support Shazam.
Yeah.
Okay, books. Oh yes, I did get a haircut. Thank you very much. I look very handsome. Sorry, I was responding to a comment, not to any of you. It's looking fresh. Wait, why did that cut off? Oh,
think
okay,
he was-
it just cut
I
off.
think he's talking about Angry Mexa, not
Mm,
Tech Mex.
No, Angry Mex's hair is pretty long. I don't think you got a. Yeah, which Mex? Okay, which Mex are you talking about? Gotta
There's
specify.
too many of them.
Yeah.
I am muy guapo though. Okay, books. I finished the Ender series, the quadrilogy. At least, I mean, yes, technically there are books that there are more books now.
The
But
Shadow
originally,
series.
it was the four. It was Ender's Game, and Ender's Game, Speaker for the Dead, Xenocide, and Children of the Mind. Those were the four original ones. And yes, there is a book that takes place after that, but it is the finale for both the Ender series and the Shadow series. And I haven't read all of the Shadow series. I've only read the first book. So
There is also Ender in Exile, which takes place during his trip before Speaker for the Dead, that came out afterwards. So like,
yeah, that is supposed to be like a replacement for the last chapter of Ender's Game, which
okay, yeah,
like there's a little bit of contradiction between, like, because he wrote that one first, obviously, and then made some changes as he went, and so I think that's supposed to be the replacement. But yeah, so I haven't read the finale. I haven't finished, but I finished the original Ender story. I eventually will go and read the Shadow series and then what's left, but I'm going to take a break from.
I'll just say
Orson
the
Scott
Shadow
Card for now.
series is also very good. It's very
I
different.
really like the first
Really
book.
good.
It's really
Yeah.
good. Yeah, it's all about the hegemon stuff on Earth. And
So how does Children of the Mind compare to
Children of the
Xenocide
Mind,
and-
it's really good. I don't think it's not. It's not the most important book in the series. I think Speaker for the Dead and Xenocide together are like very important, like philosophically, and like that was the message, right? That Orson Scott Card wanted to release to the world, and it's a very good message of overcoming, racism and prejudices and humanity. It's a very beautiful story. So Children of the Mind isn't so much focused on, like, it's not as important of a book. It's definitely what it needs to be. It was a very appropriate finale. It's more focused on wrapping up the sci-fi elements introduced than like the heart of the story. So it's also what you need to read after having read Speaker for the Dead and Xenocide, which are very heavy emotionally and very sad and sometimes incredibly disturbing. Children of the Mind it's a great way to end the series and kind of breathe again. It's not as disturbing. So it just takes all but one of the little threads, ties them up in a nice bow, and I thought it was a very, very appropriate ending for the series, and
Does it?
some very interesting sci-fi concepts. It wasn't, again, as emotionally significant, although there's a bit at the end where it's like, that's crazy, that's intense, but it ties up the story very well, and I really liked it.
Does Xenocide have to do with the piggies, or is it like a different? Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, all three of them. So Ender's Game has to. You've read it. You know what it is. The other three they all take place. There's no time jump. It's to deal with the piggies and finding a new home for the buggers, the Hive Queen. It's all the same story. It's beautiful. It's really, really good series. I am so glad I read it. Really liked it. Children of the Mind was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And
I will also say I just barely this week, so I finished up my my Hitchhiker's Guide stuff, and I just started Ender's Game again, just listening to it. 15 minutes in, I was bawling. I know, like you're talking about how much better the other ones get, and I know that they do, but it's been a little bit since I read it, and oh my gosh! And I'm just getting to another part that I'm just getting to him getting into the armies, getting command of Dragon Army, and him dealing with Bean, and oh my gosh,
it's really good,
so good. The bit that got me was right after Peter makes the threats that he makes at the very beginning of the book against him and Val. And then that night that he comes and just like, and it's like, and this is Peter who's like psychotic, but oh my gosh, it's so good. I loved it. It's so good. So just wanted to talk about it that I finally started back up on these, and by the end of this week,
I really don't want to spoil anything about the series, but like it gets really interesting at the end with some stuff, and you're like, wow.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's a perfect bow. It's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. So good. Just wanted to toss my 2 cents in about Ender's Game because it's awesome, and that's another part of the reason that I really wanted to make it, even though I'm this late, because I'm like, oh yeah, I need to tell them about how amazing Ender's Game is, even though nobody here doubts that.
Yeah,
but,
I'm gonna. So eventually, I'll reread Ender's Game and I'll do the Shadow series. But I need to take a break. They're heavy. It's heavy, and it's a thinker.
The first one, Shadow of the Dead, definitely starts to introduce a lot of. Speaker for the Dead, definitely introduces a lot of ideas where you're like, oh shoot, like
it's wonderful.
What is it that makes us see the things the way we see them, like,
oh yeah. Fire, straight fire, the Ender series. Love it.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to read the book that I plugged last week from my friends. I'm really excited to read it. It's real thick though, and I just don't have the time. So I do audiobooks for the rest of them, which is great because I can do it while I'm doing the dishes or changing a diaper or feeding my little girl. So I can read books and multitask, but a physical book, I just don't have time to sit down and read. But I'm trying to get to that one, to Dragon Thief, because I'm super excited, and I want to bring the authors on the show and interview them because I know them and they're cool people. But I need to read the book first.
Nice.
Sitting down to read is a lot harder to do, more just because of time. Like I know you've got your
also my eyes get tired, and I have dyslexia and I have dyslexia and ADHD. So like my brain doesn't focus, and my brain doesn't focus, and I just don't have the time. But I'm gonna do it.
Yep.
But get the audiobook out, and I'll read it faster. Okay. Anyway, so I started reading Gunmetal Gods.
That's another Terry Pratchett, or
No. I took a Pratchett break. Well, no, I already talked about Equal Rights, right? I already talked about that one. So Gunmetal Gods is it's written by an Indian author, so it's heavily inspired on Indian culture and mythology, and it's really good so far. It's slapping. Basically, it is told from the perspective. It's two different perspectives. You get to. It's told in first person from multiple people, and the two main voices are two generals on opposing sides of a conflict. And it's really, really cool. And I love the different culture. Like there's not a lot of, it feels like a really fun fantasy, but in a completely different setting. And I'm really enjoying it so far. It also is very fast paced. It doesn't linger on like setting things up. Like the book started and they were like, oh, there's going to be a big war and the city's going to be invaded. And you're like, okay, that's what this book's about. It's about one side preparing for the defense of the city and the other side preparing to sack the city. And then like the second chapter is like just a teeny little spoiler, but it happens at the beginning of the book. Like, nope, the city gets invaded and it's over. And now we're dealing with the repercussions of that. And then they're like, oh, we're going to get ready for this other thing. And then it happens. And so like it speeds along. So like I'm very interested in the story. It's really cool. It's really fun. And I'm not racist. I like reading books from people of different color, especially when it's original material. This would make an awesome adaptation. And it would be awesome to see this culture represented on screen. And this is the kind of story that these people deserve. They don't deserve the sloppy seconds of a white character that's been painted.
What do you mean, these people?
The Jews.
Can't succeed on Broadway without him.
I didn't give Pratchett the hatchet. I finished all of the ones that were on my phone, and so I need to get more. I've read like 13 Pratchett books this year. Okay. So.
Yeah.
And I also wanted something that was significantly different because I'm going to be listening to an audiobook and reading physically. So I wanted like a big delineation between. And Pratchett felt too like YA, like lighthearted fantasy, and that's kind of what.
Nice.
And so, like, I wanted a big contrast, so I don't get things mixed up. I don't do well reading two things simultaneously.
I did want to mention too. I think it was Mark Clark a couple weeks ago in the stream mentioned Robert Aspin books, the Myth series, and I noticed that the day after that stream, one of the first book in his Myth series went on sale on Audible, so I actually bought that. Haven't listened to it yet, but it's called Another Fine Myth. The Myth
I did look into those books, and I really like how the titles are all puns.
Yeah, they're all puns with myth in the title. They look really interesting. So
Myth Conception and the
unfortunately, Mark,
what was the university one?
The only book was on sale is number 1, so I will be reading them in order, starting with book 1. But yeah, it looks interesting. So thanks for that recommendation. I'm currently in the middle of the second Wheel of Time book, so I need to finish that one, and I'll probably finish the third book in the Wheel of Time series too, because the second season is going to be books 2 and 3. But then I'll probably jump into that one after that. So
there was like a group of those myth books that was like focused on like a Mythtory Inc. or something like that.
Yeah. There's okay. I got it pulled up here. There's myth conceptions, myth directions, hit or myth, mything persons.
Myth. There was a series
myth
of
Inc. Link. Yeah.
Yeah. Myth Inc. Yeah.
Myth Inc. in action. This is another one.
I liked
Something
all of the
Myth
puns
Inc.
in Guard. Revolving around Myth Inc.
It goes very deep.
Myth Inc. Link. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shame
Class dismithed.
It's hard to say.
Myth chief. Yeah.
Okay.
Myth fortunes. It keeps going.
All right, let's do some bad takes.
Fun.
Let's do some bad takes. Those are the books I read. I'm gonna get to more. Here we go. Screen rants. Bad takes. Avatar 4 will feature a major time jump, reveals the producer.
Again, we're talking about 4 before we've even seen 3.
Make 3 first.
It's okay. It's just being consistent with the fact that there was a major time jump for Avatar 2. Oh, you're talking about in universe. I thought he was talking about out of universe, like in
Oh, you're so funny. Why are we? I don't see how this produces hype. I feel like this one just makes people tired. Like, talk about
exactly.
The next one. The next
hype up the
Avatar
next
3
thing.
has already been filmed. Like, okay, I guess this makes sense because 2 and 3 were filmed consecutively, and now they're going to film 4 and 5 together. Like, so sure, there's going to be time jump, but talk about 3. Promote the next one that's coming out.
Exactly.
I don't get this.
Yeah, I think honestly, this is more. I don't know. I think it's more of a problem with the news cycle of just being like, we want to know everything, and we have to have X number of articles. Kind of like our problem is with Screen Rant in general, because they're an article farm, and so they're like, well, what else can we talk about? We've already talked as much as we can, or as much as anybody's going to about 3. So let's talk about the next one, just because they want to put another article out there.
Regardless of intention, it's a bad take. It's a
No,
bad article.
But that doesn't track though, because I've heard more articles about 4 and 5 than I have about 3.
Yeah, good point.
I think it was Avatar 5 that was going to be like the super mind bender twist.
James Cameron walked into the producers and slapped down the script for Avatar 5, and it blew our freaking minds, yo. They only responded in a one-word sentence: WTF. That was an article we literally read on here.
Yeah, I remember.
And we're like, I don't think it's saying what we think it's saying. I think it's saying the producers, why the heck are you showing us the script for Avatar 5 when the second movie isn't out yet?
That's right. I remember that now. Yep.
Anyway, there's more bad takes, everybody. Indiana Jones, despite Ke Huy Quan's presence, the Temple of Doom is still racist.
And why would Ke Huy Quan's presence?
I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm very sorry. But he got the Oscar for the Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he won an Oscar, and he has a rapport with Harrison Ford, and that made fans watch the Temple of Doom. And despite Asian being in it, it's a racist movie. I just don't understand. Wasn't the complaint that his portrayal in the movie was kind of racist?
No, that's. I think so.
Wasn't the complaint the fact that he was in it was racist? Not despite the fact that he's in it, it's still racist.
Yeah, this is a weird article.
He was a bit of a. I agree. He was a bit of a Chinese caricature in the film, and it was funny because he was a little kid. He was a cool character. We all liked it. Short round. We like short round. Okay.
Well, the thing that I think is funny just about that line there, it's like the problem still remains. Well, yeah, they didn't do the movie again. It's the same movie. Like, how does that change things? It's like they didn't redo the Temple of Doom. It's still the Temple of Doom.
It's still the same movie.
Yeah, no, don't even try to summon
his
that
Oscar
because
success,
they're gonna.
His Oscar success reflects the strength of his first performance. So they're praising his racist performance. I don't know what the point is here.
Wait, was that his first performance or was Goonies?
It was close. I mean, it was the same age for both of those.
They both. Let me look it up.
So the
Goonies
Temple of
came
Doom's
out in
racism is
85.
still troubling. Oh, because the villains at the beginning, No, it wasn't because of his performance. It was because of that. But their performance wasn't like the offensive part, right? It was the kid.
Temple of Doom was 84.
So Temple of Doom was
Yeah.
1 year before.
Yeah.
I
Almost
remember. I think I haven't seen that movie in English. Actually, I saw it in Spanish so many times because as a kid, I love Indiana Jones. Was one of my favorite things ever. I wanted to be an archaeologist, well, paleontologist, but an archaeologist because of that guy. Although he never did anything like, but yeah, an archaeologist would actually do. He was like a bounty hunter or something like that. But in Mexico, well, in
Archaeologist in
Spanish.
quote.
Yeah, in Spanish, that part these guys spoke regular, and the Hey Kuan, whatever his name is, Hey Kuan, yeah, the guy. Hu Juan.
Ke Hui Kwan.
Yeah, at least that's how I've heard it pronounced, just Ke Hu Kwan.
Yeah, that guy in Spanish was doing the Chinese accent, so the whole racist. Yeah. That was weird because I always thought that the racist part was his part. So
yeah.
Well, at least that's what I heard people say. I never thought it was a racist performance.
me neither, but
we're so uptight, guys. It's fine. It's fine. Okay.
And I mean, yeah, like it was done maybe not perfectly, but you don't have to call it the.
Everyone loved his character
say,
too.
Hey, let's
his character was endearing. We liked him.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay?
And he actually helped along in the plot, right? He wasn't just some annoying kid.
Yeah,
he was a major
does
plot
stuff in the movie.
Character.
I love that kid. I was. I wanted to be that kid.
Temple of Doom is actually racist against Germans. Because
Nazis.
Nazis.
And there's the lady that's
actually Temple of Doom is the one that didn't have Nazis.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the Nazis one.
All of the other ones.
One girl is just screaming all the time, and she like pretends to help him out, and then ends up being the bad guy in the end. And she's
that's
German.
number 3.
That's 3. Oh, is that number 3? I'm backwards. Never mind.
Last Crusade.
Yeah, Temple of Doom is the one Indiana Jones film.
The girl in Temple of Doom had the thick perm. It was blonde.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't like her that
kind
much.
Of annoying, yeah.
Yeah, she was annoying. The only character I loved was obviously Indy, but the kid was the second character I loved. The rest of them I hated them all. I wanted them all to die. Yeah, mostly this guy in the photo. I hated that guy. He was a great actor he did a great performance.
He pulls a dude's heart out of his chest.
Yeah, that was insane.
Kalima.
That was insane with the Kalima.
We used to reenact that.
Yeah, all the time.
It's like, okay, now I'm gonna rip your heart out.
When I saw, Temple of Doom probably is my favorite. When I saw that scene, where they are doing the ritual, I was blown out of my mind. I didn't think that such production value was possible, and I was just a kid. I was like, I haven't seen. That point I never saw any.
The minecart chase scene is real good too.
So good.
Yeah, that movie is great. I'm going to rewatch the whole trilogy.
Indiana Jones, baby. Yeah, watch all 3 movies. There's more. Marvel's. Hold on. Continue with that. Marvel's queer Captain America lands his own solo comic. And it'll probably just be the one.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen time and time again, they try and launch these and then they get instantly canceled because no one buys them.
That outfit is so ridiculous.
It's so un-American. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, overall,
it doesn't do anything for me. I think it's kind of dumb looking, but it's whatever.
He has like an American tattoo, but
pass.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Pass.
It looks like garbage, and why does he look like overtly gay? Why are the characters so overtly gay?
Pride Month series. There's is that who?
Is that Dazzler or is that Rogue or something? That's not Rogue. Jean Grey, maybe.
I think it's Rogue.
Pride.
No, Rogue.
Her name is Pride.
I don't think it's Rogue. It might be. Oh, what's her name? It wouldn't be Jubilee.
I don't know who any of these. Oh, that's Black Cat, right?
Yeah,
I think.
Either Black Cat or
Spider-Man number 28 Pride cover.
Spider-Man, yeah.
It's
Black Cat.
It's Doja Cat, right?
Doja Cat.
Go back to that first one.
I'm
It'd
good.
be
I'm
really
good.
weird if it's
No, but
It's-
Dazzler would
it's
have had.
X-Men. It's
X-Men.
probably
probably
Jean
Rogue.
Grey. She's
It's
got
gotta be
red
Rogue.
hair.
That's not.
Yeah, the red hair makes me think Jean Grey, although
She has
the
a
red
little bit of white.
makes me think Jubilee, but Jubilee is one of the few other ethnic characters, and so I don't know why they
Yeah.
changed her to red hair instead of being the.
It's not Rogue because the globes are not,
Whoever it is, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's not good art.
No.
I think that one's the least offensive
Apparently,
of the four, but
lesbians love overalls. Yeah.
It's Rachel Gray.
That does sound about right. Yeah, it's Rachel Gray. Jean Grey.
Here we go. David, you sent me this one, right? Comics legend Alan Moore believes Superman has lost his meaning.
Yeah. So, did you read this article?
Alan Moore didn't create Superman?
No, he
created
did
the Watchmen.
Superman. He did Watchmen. He did.
He
Batman,
had
The
a
Killing
Superman
Joke.
run.
Yeah, he did do a Superman run later, but I think it was just the one. But yeah, he's a pretty good dark.
Yeah, he did
thing.
V for Vendetta, Killing
Yeah,
Joke.
V for Vendetta is another one. It's famous for.
Mhm.
But yeah, so basically,
he's good at the pessimistic, dark, broody stuff. Yeah.
So this article is saying that he thinks that Superman has gotten away from his roots, and he doesn't represent what he used to represent, which I would agree with him on that. But the point that he brings up is absolutely missing the point. He says that Superman used to be this noble warrior that would fight for social justice, and he wouldn't be fighting these big old supervillains and stuff. He would be fighting corrupt government. And yeah, that he did do that sort of thing. Not social justice, but he was fighting for justice, and he would punch up thugs that were abusing people. Lex Luthor is not a supervillain. He's just a big corrupt government type of guy. But that's not like he did that in between fighting big supervillains stuff.
Well, he did it as a journalist.
Yeah, exactly.
Lois Lane
so he's saying, they need to get back to Superman fighting for social justice, and like that's all he does now.
The early Superman
is just stands for woke idealism and whatever gay agenda that they're pushing nowadays. That's what he's correct. Superman doesn't stand for what he used to stand for. They need to get back to him standing for American values.
Truth, justice, and the American way. Yeah,
exactly. So it's a good take. He's right, but for the wrong reasons.
His early Superman beat up Stride Break. I don't even know what that Stride Breaker. That sounds like a cool
Strike Breakers.
Strike Breakers.
Yeah,
I'm dyslexic. Okay. Superman beat up strike breakers and threw a slum landlord over the horizon. Obviously, that Superman didn't last long, while he was pretty soon taken from his creators and made the much more socially respectable middle class and right-leaning character. In those early comics, he beat up wife beaters. Yeah, that's we don't. Okay,
that wasn't his main thing, but he did that in between his
fought corrupt members of government. Yeah,
Lex
that's right.
Luthor.
That's pretty right-leaning.
Mm-hmm.
We don't like government. Okay, and supported unemployment. He supported the unemployed.
Yeah. He
helped them get jobs. Is that? He wasn't really. He was tangling with all-powerful monsters from the
and actually, again, I think
up.
this is a little bit to his point about the early on, because this was before they'd really developed the universe around it of his own villains that were universe and universe threatening monsters and stuff like that. So
yeah. But anyways, I just thought that was interesting that he was correct. He doesn't stand for these values anymore.
A broken clock is right.
But he wants them to get back to fighting for social justice, which is all that they're pushing right now. So I don't know what he's talking about.
He's kind of, if you know about his personal life, he's kind of gone crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, even the comics that he was involved with are pretty dark. So, V for Vendetta, Batman Killing Joke, that's dark stuff.
Yeah. They're
Watchmen, yeah.
good.
They're good, but kind of make you messed up in the head.
So apparently the picture is of the daughter of Scott and Jean.
Okay. So I was close.
Which might be that Rachel Gray because that was Mark that also said Rachel Gray.
Yeah.
I thought that was a joke about it. It's not Jean Grey, it's Rachel.
Yeah.
Does she have superpowers? I don't know.
I would assume so. She's the daughter of 2 X-Men.
Yeah.
So.
What are her powers? I'm curious. Are they...
Oh, she's Rachel Summers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's funny you said Rachel. He said Rachel Gray, but yeah, Rachel Gray, Rachel Summers, whatever.
Yeah.
More bad takes. New study shows men look more masculine when they wear makeup.
What?
That picture is not masculine.
And this is
I'm just saying.
That's the picture
And
they choose.
this is the picture that you choose to highlight that point.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, I suppose the closest you get is the fact that with makeup you can accentuate different features, and so if you wear it in a way that accentuates more masculine features, then sure you could. I don't know.
Nah.
Or maybe that you're secure in your manhood and they don't care. I don't know.
I'm gonna go with no. Yeah, that's the
Whatever.
official position. It's so stupid. We live in a clown world right now. This is not masculine. I don't even know if that is a man. It looks like he has Adam's apple surgery or something like that.
Gosh.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Link is a gay icon and Zelda fans know it.
That's the thing is that people will just latch onto something and decide that it is, you know?
The thing about this and all other cross-dressing things in popular culture, it used to be something to make a joke about and to be fun. You know, Mrs. Doubtfire. It was funny. You know, some like it hot. It's a funny thing for guys to dress up in girls' clothing. It's like, ha ha ha. But it doesn't mean that
Yeah.
David, you bigot. The Legend of Zelda's queer themes are more than just subtext.
I don't think so.
You're wrong.
Especially coming from Japan.
Right.
Remember the previous
Japan wants
article? Japan wants
China,
big boob,
I believe.
or
China wants big boobs and no blacks.
I thought that was the Japanese
pretty sure it's China.
video game company.
Trans Link. No, it's cross-dressing so he could sneak into the town.
Yeah.
It's like they haven't played the game.
Neither.
He's gender fluid and his sexuality. He's been attracted to Zelda
every single time.
Like every single game.
Yep.
It's always been on the minds of queer players. Well, guess what? It's never been on the minds of regular people because we don't care.
Yep.
It's not important. When has Link's sexuality ever been relevant in the games? Why?
Exactly.
The fact that he's attracted to Zelda.
Oh, he's Ganondorf's lover. Oh, he has a romantic relationship.
Because of the fanfics with that's what they're talking about.
He has a romantic relationship with Prince Sidon. No,
that's talking about how there's been tons and tons of fan things that have depicted him that way.
So even the creators say he's not gay. He's just an odd person. Yeah, Link is strange. Sure. Yeah, they denied that. Okay, so this should be the end of the article. That's it. That the creators said no.
Same issue with it's just they want to see and force that into everything. Like it's the same issue with Luca that came out with Disney, the animated film about the mermaid creatures, and they were two friends that were boys, and there's like, oh, they're the first gay characters in a Disney film, and the creator said no.
if you're watching,
not our intention.
If
They're
you're
friends.
watching a movie about two kids and think, oh, I need to ship these two kids together, you've got problems.
Exactly.
Like
boys can be friends with other boys without being gay. Like,
yeah.
I'm so tired of it.
Yeah, boys can be friends.
It is interesting. I do think that there's a tendency sometimes to that like these are people that tell us not to make assumptions about gender or sexuality or whatever, and then they make assumptions based on what might be typical queer behaviors or whatever. So yeah, I think it's kind of funny.
David, do you remember the boys can see boys?
Yeah. Let's not get into that.
David and I had to share a room growing up because we're close in age and we have lots of siblings. And so we would always complain, oh man, I don't want to change in front of my brother. We would always complain about, because we fought all the time. And so our mom would always tell us boys can see boys. It's okay to change in front of each other because boys can see boys, but boys can't see girls. So we didn't want to be changing naked in front of our sisters.
Yep. Can't teach
it
kids
sounds
that anymore.
So incredibly gay.
Yep.
David, boys can see boys. I thought that queer was a slur, but apparently it's like the N-word now.
It's been being repossessed. They've been taken.
So for decades, heteronormativity has forced queer people to exist on the fringes of society. We just didn't want you forcing it down our throats. You can exist, that's fine. But it's common to see queer-coded monsters and queer-coded villains. I'm sorry, if it's queer-coded, it's because it's not queer.
Because they don't want to associate with anything that's...
It's called confirmation bias. Exactly. You're seeing things that are not there.
There is definitely some of that, although I do believe that there's been some queer coding in some of those things, yes. But
in the monsters?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't know.
This became especially apparent during Breath of the Wild. There were rumors you could choose if Link was a boy or a girl. Well, that didn't happen.
That was prior to the game's release. It was
during Ocarina of Time, Link was gender neutral. Oh, I wanted him to be. These people are sick.
Yeah.
These people, they seriously, I feel bad for these people. They need help. If you can't, the problem is they have to justify their own position because they're clearly not happy as is. And I want these people to be happy. I want everyone to be happy. I wish the best of everyone. But they are clearly not mentally stable. At least I'm obviously not talking about, it's not a blanket statement. I'm talking about specifically these people. This
what do you mean
not,
these people? Sorry.
Yeah. Why do I mean these people? I mean these psychopaths who are writing this article, who are pushing these things. They're clearly not doing well mentally.
Yep.
If they need a validation in a video game.
Yeah. They need to be validated, yeah. They had the need. That's part of the mental illness.
Androgyny. I'm just skimming real quick because it's just nonsense. It's like you didn't play the game. They were friends.
Yep. And more often than not, it was the Prince Sidon's sister, Mipha. She was flirting with Link more than Sidon was. You
guys want to see the list of indisputably queer characters in The Legend of Zelda?
No.
I have a sinking suspicion I could dispute 90% of them.
There is one. The house.
Yeah.
The house
There's
guy.
Definitely some. That
For sure. He's
yeah. There are queer characters in it's like,
and you can make an argument for the guy that Link gets the female clothing from, right?
Yeah.
But why do you got to make Link? non-binary or whatever. I don't
Because
know.
it'll make them feel better about themselves.
Yep.
Because they're not happy. They're not happy.
Well, I think there's something to that. Hey, if it makes you feel better about yourself, as much as I think that there are better ways to feel better about yourself, then fine.
It's not it's not a healthy outlet.
Yeah.
It's not a healthy way to find happiness. Anyway, so Peter Pan and Windy Star. Yara Shahindi says that the Disney is remaking animated classics in order to give Black and brown audiences the fairy tale they deserve. You guys deserve to see an adaptation of Gunmetal Gods or Rage of Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you deserve.
Your own stories.
This is not special.
Mm-hmm.
This is, by definition, derivative. This shouldn't make you feel special. This should make you feel insulted. Placated. That's what they're doing. They're placating you. They're pandering to you. And you should feel bad about that. This is not what you deserve. You deserve so much better.
Yeah.
I'm really liking Gunmetal Gods. It's a really cool book.
Nice. Took me a second. I was just reading the top and going, "What are you talking about?"
The horse got race swapped too, guys. It's a little breather. It's a little breather in between bad takes.
Yeah, it's funny.
Have you guys read this article yet?
I have not. That's actually literally I'm going to be reading through that stuff after this because I saw some of the. I saw apparently he reacted really kindly to it because he's an amazing person. And
is this the one I sent you or is this
David? This is the last bad take. The other ones are all spin-offs of this.
Okay.
Literally, I have 2 of those articles pulled up to look at after we're done with the stream.
There's a new Sanderson book next month. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's the one that's non-Cosmere, which sounds actually like a lot of fun. So Wired released
He's
this.
not put up the March box for sale on his store yet, and I'm really mad about that. It's supposed to go up like the second week of March, but it didn't. All right, go ahead and do your take.
Wired released this article called "Brandon Sanderson is Your God." Here we go. Let's pull that up. He's the biggest fantasy writer in the world. He's also very Mormon. These things are profoundly related. No one's read this yet?
I did. I sent you this article.
Okay.
Bro.
Okay, I know. I'd already
was going to, but I had
for the
a really
record,
busy weekend. So.
I had already seen it, but thank you for sending it.
Okay, sounds good. This
is the most psychotic thing I have ever read. Okay. And it's long.
It is very long. I thought it was pretty well written.
What?
Yeah.
To sum it up, the author of this article, that's the photographer. What's his name? What's the psychopath's name?
They should say it at the top.
It doesn't.
Jason.
Jason.
It's in the black at the very top.
Okay. Jason Keehee. Okay. Is a senior editor journalist. Approached Brandon Sanderson. No, shut up. Where does it say it on the top? It doesn't say anywhere.
It's in black.
In the black box right there.
It's a terrible format, but yeah.
Yeah.
Jason Keehee, journalist, approached Brandon Sanderson and asked if he could do a profile on him, which is cool because not a lot of people have interviewed Brandon Sanderson, which is weird because he's the top-selling fantasy artist or fantasy author living. He's the top living fantasy author. It's best-selling. I don't know what the title is, okay? He's sold the most fantasy books, and he's currently still alive. That's his thing. And no one has really given him a lot of attention until now. So this person approached Brandon Sanderson to do a profile. Brandon Sanderson invited him into his home to hang out with his family, to watch movies in his private movie theater. He took him out to a nice dinner, answered all of the questions, was extremely gracious, let him attend Dragonsteel for free and go behind the scenes. And I was at Dragonsteel. It was cool. Basically just gave him the tour of his life. Okay. Showed him his appointment books, showed him his schedule, showed how he schedules his day, and how he keeps on top of writing a whole bunch of freaking books. And Jason Keehee responded by writing this article, which does nothing but just blast Brandon Sanderson.
At first?
Yeah. The whole time. It's insane. He clearly doesn't like Brandon Sanderson's writing, which is okay. People have different tastes. And if that's all this article was, it wouldn't have been so offensive. Like, you could have come in and saying, hey, it's not my personal taste. I don't particularly love the books that he's read, but you cannot deny he has a passionate fan base. He's very passionate about it, what he writes, and the fans are very passionate about the books. And it's kind of crazy how much of a fan following he has, and whether or not you like his prose, you can't deny he's been successful, and now Hollywood is courting him for making movies. That would have been an interesting article, and that's not what he does.
That's basically what he says in this article, bro. I don't know what you're talking about.
Except it's filled with hatred.
No, it's the whole thing is he'd never heard of Brandon Sanderson before. He read some of his work, and he didn't, like you said, he thought his prose wasn't the greatest, which I agree with. He's no Patrick Rothfuss. And so he was baffled at how he had such a huge following. And this article talks about how he got to know him and read more and more books. And he realized that while he's not the best at prose, his world building is freaking phenomenal. And he went on in the article saying he's read several more of his books since then. And he's come to love Brandon Sanderson. And even though he acknowledges that his prose isn't the greatest, he's amazing, and what he has built is great.
I feel like we didn't read the same article.
This is the same article I sent you, bro.
It was updated apparently to be more positive because he rips into Sanderson. Sanderson is extremely Mormon. Yeah, okay, that's his religion. He's religious. So is Stephanie Myers and Orson Scott Card. Orson Scott Card is also a friggin' weirdo. Could it be? He wrote 3 of the Wheel of Time books, an adaptation and series that came out on Amazon Prime. Could it be finally because he's a weirdo Mormon? But so are those people, right? He's just like, it's very hostile.
I think you're reading into it too much. He's trying to find out why he is so popular. And throughout the course of the thing, he comes around on the guy. He says, I understand what's so great about Brandon Sanderson. His world building and his story arcs and his characters are freaking phenomenal.
Personally find
structure's not great.
I find Sanderson depressingly, story-killingly lame.
Yes, that's when he first met him. He's like, there's nothing spectacular about him. He's just like a normal guy.
A lot of other people have read this article and agree with me.
And you know who says otherwise? Brandon himself says, calm down. It's just a dude who
Did you see
wrote
his
an
response?
article.
Daniel Green wrote an article, did a video on it. Like all of the booktubers were talking about how insane this article was.
Yeah, I thought it was very very charming toward the end, and especially when he sits down and he talks to him and he says, "Hey, look, why are you so popular? Like, I don't think you write that good." And Sanderson said he agreed with him. He says, "Yeah, I don't write amazingly well." but it's the world building, it's the stories that people come for, it's the magic systems that he creates, it's the lore. He's an amazing storyteller.
The whole thing felt like very childish and very insulting. I don't know how we read the same article.
You're right that I've heard the little bit that I've heard about it is that a lot of other people seem to be very upset about it too. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know. The little bits that I've seen and people talking about, very much like I can see a lot of the it's very kind of condescending and like very aggressive in the way that it talks about him being weird, like he's trying to make it a bigger deal. But I haven't read to the end, like what David's talking about, where he seems to maybe come around on him a little bit, and be a little bit more positive. And again, the way the little bit that I've read from Brandon's Reddit post saying like he seems to be a sincere man who tried very hard to find a story, discovered there wasn't one that interested him, then floundered trying to figure out what he could say to make deadline.
Yeah, because he was looking for gotcha.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. Like you can tell this guy was looking for dirt.
Gotcha, but
he was looking for dirt, couldn't find any.
Sure.
And all that was left was, well, I don't think his writing's very good.
Which I agree with.
Too. Brandon Sanderson shines in these situations. He's your god, but he's your friend too. He's unafraid to drop hints about future projects. Like he's praising him a lot. He's talking good stuff about him there at the end.
Yeah, I agree. It's not the most flattering thing, but I think he does come around to him. He does mention it at one point in here that since he's met with him and he read his first book, he's gone back and he's read a lot more of his books because he likes them. He's come around to them.
I don't remember that part, but I don't know. Everyone should read this article. It's pretty crazy.
I was going to say, just from reading from what I can on here, it definitely seems like in the way that he's portraying it, I think what he's trying to do is there's a lot of like opinions about some of the assumptions that can be made about who he is, right? But and I think he's even trying to say that, maybe Brandon Sanderson isn't necessarily like some guy that you'll see on the street and be like, oh, shoot, that's Brandon Sanderson, some awe-inspiring guy that makes you want to, be something, but I think so. But in the way that he's doing it, he's cutting him. Like there's a lot of cutting down from what I can see. But like,
I agree.
Every chance he gets, he puts in a jab. Yeah,
yeah. There's a lot of cutting down from what it looks like, and maybe his objective is to finally say, hey, at the end, like, yeah, Brandon Sanderson's a good guy, and I don't know if his writing's the best, but you guys like him, and hey, maybe I'll read a couple more of his books. But the way that he is reading it, like you should, I would say that the way that you're telling this is a bit harsh in the way that he's describing, some of these attributes that he's attributing to Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah, I think Martina has a good point there at the on the comment here. I do feel like there's some interesting, potentially religiously motivated pokes at the idea of using godhood there.
This segment is pretty gross.
Yeah,
he's constantly bashing his religion.
Yeah.
And it's just not like he says it's no secret Mormonism is the fantasy of religion, the science fiction edition of Christianity. And
wow, that's ridiculous.
And David, when you said he told Brandon Sanderson he didn't like his books, it was in front of his wife. They were at dinner and said, "Why do people like you? I don't think you're very good." Like Brandon Sanders is taking him to dinner.
Yeah.
And like this guy's just rude. This is a rude person.
I can't argue with you there.
Yeah, and Well, and that's also the way it's presented here. It's kind of hard to say how it was presented at the time, but also if you're interviewing somebody and you don't like their work, like it's tough to find a balance to say like, hey, I don't necessarily love your work, but and you would do that as a part of the conversation if you don't particularly love their work. It depends on how he says it. Did he say you suck at writing, or did he say, hey, I actually don't. I'm kind of curious because I haven't loved your writing, and I've heard some of these different criticisms, and yet you're still really popular. So what do you think about that, or why do you think that is, and dive into that. And it sounds from the way Brandon talked about him that's more like how he did it. Again, he's a little. I think he's trying to make a very like controversial article, and he did not necessarily that he was trying to make the kind of controversy that he got for it, but I think he is trying to make it a like, ooh, look at this. And
he even makes fun of his kids.
Yeah, I think I heard about that. Again, I haven't.
He talks about he makes fun of his kids' weird eating habits.
Putting salt on his food or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, they put salt and everything. Yeah.
Well, and Brandon himself is actually self-proclaimed that he is weird with the way that he puts a ton of salt on everything. Apparently.
Yeah, you can criticize our religion. That's totally fine. And but. There was so much spite in this article. It was very insulting to read, and I did see Brandon Sanderson's response, and I thought it was incredibly elegant.
I need to get out. Yeah,
Okay.
I need to have a nerdy day tomorrow. So see you guys next week, and I hope you have a great week. It was a pleasure as always, and goodbye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in.
You're welcome.
Mark Clark asked if Orson Scott Card is Mormon. Yes, we did talk about that. He's a Mormon as well. Orson Scott Card, Stephanie Myers. We don't claim her though. And the guy who did Battlestar Galactica. I can't remember his name.
The original, like Lauren.
The original series, yeah.
A
couple of famous ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
There are a lot of like ex-Mormon actors who aren't Mormon anymore. The Two-Face. Used to be
I don't think I knew that.
The what's his name in the
Christopher
Nolan ones? Yeah. He used to be a Mormon.
Yep.
Obviously not anymore. No, his response is like super elegant, saying like, "Hey, this clearly was a guy who just didn't connect with me very well," and his response is just a masterclass in beauty. But you could tell the guy was looking for dirt, couldn't find any, and had to settle on, I just don't think his writing's very good.
Yeah, and again, having not necessarily read it, I haven't picked up on a looking for dirt necessarily, but
he clearly was
something
looking
that
for
he
dirt.
didn't find, and feeling like, well, this is not interesting to me, and not what I was hoping to find.
The writer sounds jealous, but like in a passive aggressive way. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I 100% agree with that. The whole time he was like, "Why is this guy so famous?" What I thought was the most appalling to me is the fact that nobody in the Wired studio at all has ever heard of Brandon Sanderson before the Kickstarter.
Yeah, that too.
That part was like,
it's a lie.
Are you serious?
There's absolutely no way that it's true.
Yeah.
that's another insult. Like no one I'd never even talked to a living human being who'd ever even heard of Brandon Sanderson before I started writing my article. That's bullcrap. This was a really
any
good...
Wheel of Time fan would have known him. And Wheel of Time is one of the biggest fantasies before any of Brandon Sanderson's stuff.
Yep.
This was a wonderful response to it, and the gist is like the reading the article, I learned more about the author of the article than I did about Brandon Sanderson.
This is the first thing that I've actually read about it, because I saw it pop up as a suggestion, and I hadn't gotten around to reading the actual article, and then I saw this, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is interesting." Yeah,
this is a great meme. Brandon Sanderson. Oops, shoot, I did it again. Brandon Sanderson invites a journalist into his home, lets him hang out with his family, comes across this passionate artist of his craft, and I took that personally. But he makes fun of Brandon Sanderson for being passionate about what he writes. Isn't that what you want from an author, to be passionate about what they're doing?
Exactly.
We've seen how lack of passion has affected the Song of Ice and Fire. Okay. It's crazy. But a lot of people, you should read the whole article. I don't know what the heck David's talking about because he's wrong. But Daniel Green did a video about it, saying how crazy the article was, and he got pushback because people are mad that Brandon Sanders is Mormon. One of the responses was he tweeted out saying, "Hey, this is my response to the video." Someone responded saying, "I don't care about the article, but I don't understand why Sanderson fanboys rush to defend Brandon Sanderson. He's rich. I'm sure he doesn't need anyone defending him."
I mean, he doesn't need anyone defending him, but also, why does his richness matter?
But I love his response. And again, I disagree with like 90% of Daniel Green's politics, but I like him as a person. Okay. I forgot money means you don't deserve to be treated as a human. It suddenly becomes okay to mock your kids' eating habits, your dress, your religion, medical conditions, which Brandon Sanderson specifically asked to not have mentioned.
Share that, yeah.
Really? Oh, shoot.
Yes. I guess I'm going to give my opinion on an opinion piece, or I'm not allowed to give my opinion. Daniel Green is cool, and Daniel Green has openly come out against the Mormon Church. He's constantly criticizing our church, like, but I think I thought that this response was actually very good. He's like, just because I disagree with his religion doesn't mean I don't believe he can be a good person, right?
And he likes Brandon Sanderson books.
Yeah, saying no one can ever change. Oh, he's interviewed. He's been in his house too.
Yeah,
he's like saying no one can ever change.
He did a live stream with him a while back where they talked about world building and lore. That was a good video.
I like Daniel Green. I disagree with him politically, and that's okay. I've still read his book. Okay, I got a crazy YouTube comment. Oh, maybe I should pull up those YouTube comments. I have a YouTube stalker now. But let's here's some memes first. Government demands TikTok stop spying on Americans, as that's their job.
Nice.
This is good too.
That's right.
I definitely wouldn't have supported the Holocaust if I lived in Nazi Germany, says woman who supports Abortion Day.
Yep.
It's kind of you see the parallels there, and this one I took very personally because I felt it as a personal attack. But wife gasps, causing you to almost get in a fatal accident because video on her phone showed adorable baby goat tumble off of log.
No, that wasn't about you. That was about me. Sorry to throw you off.
I cannot tell you how many times I've almost been in an accident because my wife gasps. It is she. Yes. I love my wife to death, and she is the worst. She'll be reading something on her phone, grab my arm, like brace herself, grab my steering arm, okay, and almost kill us all. It happens almost on a daily basis,
and it's usually for something like this, something cute.
Yeah, it's like someone just announced they're making a new book.
Are you sure that one wasn't a reverse one where you were gasping and grabbing her arm and driving?
I've literally never done that.
Right. That's what I'd say too.
Yeah, with somebody's releasing a new book. That sounds more like you. I don't know.
I couldn't think of a perfect example. Okay.
But David also knows my wife, and she gasps and makes the biggest sounds at the smallest little thing, like a Tupperware that is completely empty falling over, and it just, oh my!
Yeah.
This happens all the time, man.
Mm-hmm.
I love my wife, but it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. I'm gonna try and pull up some of those comments. But we can talk about the Mandalorian, I guess, if we want.
Yeah.
I had a crazy person, just spew absolute vile filth on me on my videos, and I don't delete comments. I don't censor anything. If you want to talk about it, maybe that's totally fine. But they were specifically criticizing our videos on race swapping, specifically Aragorn and the
horse?
X-Men, the X-Men, where we talked about last week, what's funny is a lot of you disagreed with me on that, and that's totally fine. We can have disagreements. A lot of you guys on the channel said, "No, I don't see a problem with this." I personally do.
I think there's a balance between don't see a problem and and maybe it's not as big of a deal, but also like it's kind of annoying and maybe it doesn't need to happen as much as it does. But yeah, details, nuance.
Where is the good one though? So this person has started commenting on all of my videos, but this is the dumbest thing that he said. I'll pull this one specifically up. Let's see.
Are you assuming their gender?
I said this person.
You also said
you said that he said.
Well, his name's Gavin, so I'm assuming it's a he.
So you are assuming.
Yeah, it's almost like it's okay to make assumptions.
Yep. Let's have it.
So someone commented here. You can see a little bit of the back screen of YouTube. Okay, someone commented on the Lord of the Rings ones. This is why Lord of the Rings is going to be forgotten. I don't particularly agree with this comment, but shows like Family Matters and Bel Air are going to live on forever. Did J.K. Rowling's do this? It's kind of a weirdly worded comment. Okay, but this guy Gavin responds. They're great sitcoms. Unfortunately, they're completely different. They aren't even in the same type of media and genre. Saying you disapprove of J.K. Rowling adding diversity to her books, but you approve of her hatred of other humans makes sense. Sorry about that, ma'am. Okay, that's not where it gets important. I responded, J.K. Rowling does not hate the trans community. You clearly have not listened to what she said and now are spreading disinformation. Because if you look at her actual comments, she said she has trans friends. Okay, she has people that she's nice to. Okay, she accepts them as people, but she doesn't like the trans movement. And this is the kicker. His response: hate is not an objective idea. If any one person felt hatred because of her, she spread hate. Hate is subjective?
I can almost agree, because if somebody receives hate, then that's them receiving hate. That doesn't mean that you are being hateful.
Exactly.
But somebody can receive hate regardless of what
anyone can choose to be offended.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But you cannot prescribe motive to someone else's actions.
Exactly.
Wait.
If I don't hate you, you cannot say you are being hateful.
Hey, I have a great example of this. Have you guys seen? Did you guys watch the show Spirited over Christmas?
No, I haven't seen it.
No, we don't. I don't have. Apple.
No, I've wanted to see that.
Okay, so it's really good. I definitely would suggest watching it, but it's really funny because there's this part, and this will kind of give you some spoilers, but there's this part where basically it talks about Scrooge in his day, how there's this insult that basically whenever you said good day to someone, you're insulting them. Oh, good afternoon. Sorry, not good day. My wife corrected me. Good afternoon. And so, but it's so funny because so then it plays off this joke of, everyone just says, oh, good afternoon. And then he's like, oh, what? Why are you saying good afternoon? Right. And so it's like, so literally later on in the show, he it's later on, and a taxi driver says good afternoon to him, and he's like gonna start fighting him. And so it's hilarious in that moment, but it's kind of the same idea. Like you could say something completely nice and somebody could take it the wrong way.
Yeah. If the second you start going down this road, nothing is sacred. Like you could say, I hope you every kindness in the world, and someone could take offense to that. You can't like, and I said this. I'm like, I'm sorry. If you think hate is subjective, I don't know how I could possibly reason with you. That's just a fundamental lie. Like you can't, only a fool takes offense where none was given. You can't prescribe motives to someone else's actions. I'm like everything else you're saying, she just doesn't believe in the trans movement. Okay. And he doubles down. Hate is a wholly subjective concept. That's just crazy. I'm not going to go into the minutia of that, but because of this interaction, he started commenting on all of my other stuff. You can see that little pink there. That's more comments, butting in on other people's comments, and then tuning in days later to comment on my other videos.
Yeah,
but that's him. Yeah, he's crazy. And he was surprised that I did a video on going postal. I'm genuinely surprised that you're willing to read such a woke author. Yes, because I, unlike you, am not a psychopath. I don't judge people the way that you judge people. I don't hate people the way that you hate people. I don't hate anyone. Okay? And I've said this before. One of my favorite books of all time was written by a communist. I can disagree with someone's beliefs and still treat them as human. That's not hate. That's not hate. So, yeah, that's a little bit of my week in YouTube comments.
Sounds like fun.
Gavin James is a psychopath, and I don't hate him.
I was gonna say, and you wish him all the best in the world. Like,
I do.
Like he decided is apparently going to be offensive to somebody.
I want him to be happy, and he's probably going to find these comments hateful, which is silly. But you can't tell me you can't tell me what I think.
Yep.
You can choose to be offended, and you would be wrong. So, that was actually a Mormon that said that. Only a fool takes offense at where none was given, and a greater fool. And the quote continues. This is a greater fool takes offense where it was intended.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, who's more foolish?
Wise words.
Who follows him?
Let's talk about some Star Wars.
One of my favorite Star Wars quotes right there. It's called a transition. Didn't pick up on the segue.
I did. I said let's talk about some Star Wars.
Okay, fine. You didn't really.
I'm not a fan of Karl Marx. No, I am a fan of Dalton Trumbo, who was a massive communist, but a really good writer. This is the worst episode I've ever seen. I hated it.
Oh, you
so
liked
much.
it, didn't you, Beard? You
Yeah.
liked it.
David liked it too.
Your favorite
I
one,
didn't
I
like it as
enjoyed
much as I liked last episode, but I did mostly enjoy it. It didn't have the wild problems that I had with the first two episodes. It did
It
have
had
a little bit
more.
of that.
It had different ones that were worse.
It had a few. It had a few iffy, odd choices, but for the most part, I found it enjoyable. It was a little unfulfilling with some of the answers we got. That's my biggest criticism of it.
Wait, we got answers? I don't.
Oh, we did get an answer. Yes, the answer that we got. The answer that we got is Din Djarin is completely incompetent and just tripped. Or did we get that in the last episode?
No, that was
Yeah, we
last.
got that last
That was the
episode.
last episode.
You're
Yeah.
still
Okay,
upset
sorry.
about that one. Okay, all right.
All right. The answers that we got is the
Grogu
Mandalorians are
orders
completely
sick.
incompetent. And
We already had that answer from the previous the
Okay.
first episode.
the answer that
Although
we got,
I thought
the answer that we got is boys still alive for some reason.
Yeah, that was an odd choice. I don't know.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird that he was vomited out a
Dude,
day later than when he was swallowed in the first place.
they
So,
acknowledge
I almost
he
am okay
says,
with
"Hey,
that because that's the way
you're
that birds
a little
sometimes will
boy."
feed is they'll regurgitate the food. The fact that he was still alive for that is the questionable part. A day later, after being injected, and then
Yeah, it was definitely
Dude,
a little
they
weird.
straight
That
up
was the
confirm
one.
that this is a regular occurrence. The dragon will frequently show up and steal a little boy. Also, the crocodiles will show up and frequently just murder Mandalorians, and the only reason they survived that encounter is because Din Djarin had a spaceship.
Mhm.
How did these people get here without a spaceship that they could have used to kill a dragon? And
They got dropped off at some other base force somewhere else.
It hasn't dawned on a single Mandalorian to follow the dragon back to its nest.
Well, they followed it, but they couldn't get that far with their jetpacks because they ran out of fuel.
No one's ever had the idea of using a spaceship or a tracker.
Yeah.
These are, dare I say, bounty hunters
No,
who
not
don't
necessarily.
understand the idea of a tracker.
I will actually
Din Djarin
correct you on that one. Din is a bounty hunter, and Boba was a bounty hunter, but not all Mandalorians are bounty hunters, and they make a point of in the first season in particular how when he goes down into the covert, the rest of the covert's kind of like, this guy, he's out there being like a bounty hunter. He's not really part of us, is he? So they're not bounty hunters, but it is still
we're just
stupid
acknowledging
that they don't know how to use a tracker.
They're retarded.
Yeah.
They are retarded. It makes no sense. And yet, every episode we cut back to them, they've multiplied exponentially.
Yeah.
While Din Djarin's
silly.
entire crew just died, right? Is that the conversation? They tried to go to Mandalore and they all died?
Bo-Katan's group left because she didn't
They all
have the
left,
Darksaber anymore, which
She
is
does
very
have-
silly that...
Doesn't she currently have it?
No,
he does?
No, Din Djarin has it.
Okay, she's holding. Okay, right. Okay. They
But
left
it doesn't
because
make
she
sense
doesn't have a
that
saber.
they wouldn't go. It wouldn't make sense that they wouldn't try to track
The
down
fact
Din
that they're
Djarin.
showing Bo-Katan actually be competent, and yet she loses all of her followers, and these cult Mandalorians are growing exponentially, despite the fact that they frequently just sacrifice their youths to crocodiles and dragons, and none of them have ever thought to use the spaceship that they used to arrive here to follow it back to its lair. This show is moronic. It's a show for babies. I genuinely don't understand how anyone can enjoy this show right now. It is so monumentally stupid.
Because we're not dead inside, Alan. That's the key.
Well,
It's so bad. It's horrible. And that's just one point. Like the dragon, whatever it is, I don't know what it's not a dragon. I'm calling it a dragon. Okay, the dragon takes the kid, immediately brings it back to its nest because Bo-Katan tracked it to the nest.
Yeah.
And then they take 24 hours to go rescue.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a foundling. I thought it was an orphan boy that they took in. It's not.
Nope.
It's
apparently
the
Paul
dude's
Little's
son. And yet they arrive at the base of this camp and say, yeah, let's sit around the campfire and sing some campfire songs. Let's rest for the night. Instead of the father insisting they climb the mountain in the dark, which is what any father would have done.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because they show him later, when they get to the top, his emotions get a hold of him and he's going to run into the nest. He looked...
Because they needed that reveal at that time to say, it's my son. Yeah.
He looked so retarded. They made him look so stupid. I'm going to run into the nest, and he just runs straight into sagebrush and just like, oops, I didn't see the tree, and I got stuck. They still have jetpacks, which they say, oh, we can't use the jetpacks, it'll hear us coming. We can't use the ships, it'll hear us coming, so we got to wait 24 hours. Why did the dragon wait 24 hours to feed the boy to its prey? And where was the boy for these 24? Was he in its mouth for 24 hours?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yep.
He couldn't have been in the nest. If he just left him in the nest, he would have been eaten. So the bird was just holding the boy in its mouth for 24 hours.
Or somewhere
and
to not digest it.
Decides to just leave for some reason so that you can have the reveal of him coming back and then spitting the kid up. It was asinine. It was monumentally stupid.
And then at the end too, what are they going to do with the birds?
You're going to fly them.
They're going to train them and ride them.
They don't know how to use their jetpacks. They need something to fly.
Point. But they're definitely going to train them and ride them, which, while on the one hand, I'm kind of like, okay, that's what you're going for? Okay.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if I take a second to remove myself from the complaints that I have about that and the kind of weird logic to get to there and how they fit in the ship, it's a bigger ship, but that was an odd way that they somehow fit in there, and then also the rest of the people, and you weren't. Anyway, but okay, you know what? That could be really cool to see Mandalorians riding dragon things. That could be really cool. Kind of like it could have been cool to have Boba Fett riding a Rancor. And if you take that image of Boba Fett riding a Rancor, that is cool. It just ended up being in a very poor show and having really dumb logic to get there. But it looked cool, and so maybe we'll get something that looks cool. I'd be cool. But I'm not that I actually have much hope that they will do it great. But again, I refuse to not have some hope.
They're probably just going to get eaten by them. They're probably just going to be eaten. They're going to grow up and then they're going to eat the rest of the Mandalorians, because the Mandalorians have just incessantly proved that they're incompetent of basic survival skills. Why are they still here on this planet? Why not choose a different planet that, I don't know, doesn't have dragons? If you're not
like a challenge,
if they're so stupid that they've never thought of following it home, at least move locations. None of it makes sense.
The other parts of this episode that didn't make sense was the Order 66 escape. So he takes the bike, right? And they shoot out the engine, and he's like, "Oh, it's gonna get bumpy,"
and then it doesn't. We shot the engine; it's gonna get bumpy.
Now we're fine.
Keep going.
Or not
things like that, and then literally they arrive on that platform, and they're like, "Oh, these guys are right behind us. Oh, but let's take our time.
Let's take our time. We'll all stay and die, and you take the ship and go.
You take our ship. We'll stay and die. You take our ship and go. Yeah.
Did you notice that Jar Jar Binks is speeding through the cities of
skies of Coruscant.
Coruscant. He's speeding through the skies of Coruscant on his hover bike, and his robe goes straight down and doesn't flap in the wind. They didn't even bother blowing a fan on him.
I didn't see that.
It is so incompetent. His robe, it literally just hangs straight down. It literally looks like the old crappy Star Trek effects of and this is Disney Star Wars.
I'd be curious to see if in
the franchise with the
people...
most potential fan base built in, and the company with the most money ever, and this is the shit they give us.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch with the prequels how they handle some of those things when they've done other speeder bike things. I feel like they probably did do better and make sure they do that, but I don't know, there's something about watching it that made it feel like what you see when they're running around the skies of Coruscant in the prequels. And I wonder if that odd choice was actually consistent with that or not.
No, they blew fans in their faces for sure. And the CGI was bad too. It was really bad in Coruscant. It looked cringy.
I didn't notice anything bad.
Yeah.
CGI territory. I'll have to go back and look at that cape not billowing, because
I think that the place where I had the biggest problem with the CGI was actually with the Mandalorians. That one felt a little extra. It wasn't as bad as Obi-Wan, but it felt a little volumey. It felt like they were limited by the volume. But they maybe got
there were a lot of shots from this episode where you're like, oh, well, they clearly can't keep walking.
Yeah. I only noticed a couple of them that bothered me. And again, I think it was a lot better than what you got in Obi-Wan, where you're just cutting in weird ways and ways that don't make sense and continuity sorts of issues.
The opening scene where the Mandalorians are training, okay, and you got some. Well, first off, we get the Grogu jumps.
That did look a little bit silly, but then again, so did Yoda when he was fighting with his lightsaber.
No, Yoda looked cool. This looked retarded. Okay, you've got people like pretending to grapple while standing up. And they're like, this is fighting. And they all look retarded. And then it pans and shows all these Mandalorians just, it shows it
shooting the water,
showing them shooting. The camera is facing them, so it shows boom, 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 boom. We're practicing. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, I'm shooting a rocket. Shoot, 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 and then it pans
around,
and they're shooting the lake.
There's not even a target.
They're literally just emptying their guns into the water and calling it practice. The guy shoots a rocket into the water. Yep. What are they practicing?
Yep.
It's nonsense. It's a show for babies. They literally they like these people. They don't know how they don't know how life works. Yeah. They've never gone to a gun range. I don't understand why this
and
is
it could
what
have been
they are
fixed.
offering.
It could have been fixed easily with just some little,
just have the little floaty things from episode 4.
Mark Clark is saying maybe there was a car shooting him side eye.
It's just nonsense.
Maybe they were preemptively trying to scare the crocodile thing away, being like, "You stay away while we're training. We're just gonna lay down cover fire." I don't know. I agree with you. It's not great. I didn't love that. I think Grogu is cute, but I think that they lean on him too much, and I wish that they could just tell a Mandalorian story.
Yep.
I didn't love this episode, but there was stuff to enjoy in it, and so I didn't hate it. I'm not as mad at it as you are, but yeah,
there were still things that I enjoyed the action sequence with the fight against the dragon thing. It was a lot more competent than the stupid alligator turtle in episode 1. There were still parts that I enjoyed about this episode.
Let's all attach ropes to it, and then so it can kill us easier.
Yeah, the alligator turtle fight was ridiculous, but I thought that they were competent in their.
They turn on their jetpacks only to hover directly in front of his face.
Right.
They don't.
Yeah.
But they use
them. They don't
know
tactics. I don't know how.
But they use their jetpacks well in this fight. So
I don't know how any of them are alive. I don't know how any of these people are alive.
I think for me, at least in the way that I'm trying to view it or wanting to view it, in terms of these Mandalorians are so great, but they're not. Is the idea that for me, these are remnant Mandalorians, so they are not the peak actual example of the best Mandalorians, which doesn't make it any better that they suck, but maybe is less of a commentary on good Mandalorians would be better than this. But these ones are the ones that are left over and are foundlings that are trying to. They're going based off of myth and legend at this point, trying to build back up. One of the few ones that is actually like a generational Mandalorian are the Vizslas, is the heavy Mando and his son, because they're descendants of the family from Tar Vizsla, the creator of the Darksaber. So all the rest of them, I would imagine, being foundlings like Din, where they're like doing what they can and not always doing a great job. I don't know.
How on earth did they get this many people to sign up though as foundlings? I would look at the leaders and be like, "No, I'll try my luck on the streets."
But you get
maybe they were like Din Djarin, who they rescued him from. I don't know.
I'd call that kidnapping.
Yeah, some might call it kidnapping. It is a cult.
It's baffling to me that we that the people making this would think that would be enjoyable.
Yeah. I don't know. I still
insane.
kind of enjoyed the episode. There were some silly things, but it was all right.
Yeah, I'm with you, David. It wasn't my favorite. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It
I
was
still
really
have hope because the thing that's most intriguing to me was what they could have done without Grogu in this season at all is exploring the relationships between the different Mandalorian sects.
Oh, they're doubling down on Grogu. He's gonna be a fighter now.
I know. It's
he's
annoying, but it is what it is.
God.
I hate the stupid studio interference, but
whatever. That's what we assume it is, and it probably is. But boy, it is annoying. Whatever it is,
100% it is. Yeah, they did not. You can see that they did not plan to have Grogu in this season, and they had to rewrite it because they were forced to include him in Boba Fett.
That certainly tracks.
Everything makes sense.
It's embarrassing. I would be embarrassed if I wouldn't turn this project in. If this was my assignment and this is what I finished, I'd be like, I'm just going to get a 0 rather than turn it in.
Well, the rumors are that Jon Favreau was so upset with Kathleen for forcing all this stuff on here. She's like, I want to get back to telling the story that I want to tell, and this is not.
But the story that they're telling isn't good.
Because this isn't the story they wanted to tell, bro.
Yeah, but it's not just just because of Grogu though.
But I think to David's point, at least what I'm hearing from you, David, is that a lot of the other weaknesses in the story are having had to have rewritten stuff that they maybe did want to tell.
They've had to have. We also know that Cara Dune was supposed to play a huge part in season 3. They've had to rewrite season 3 both because
they've had a lot of time to fix that though.
Yeah.
It's just it's insane to me. I genuinely do not understand this lack of quality. It's baffling to me. I would never submit anything like that this bad.
Nope.
Yeah. It's insulting. It's frankly insulting. I feel insulted as an audience member that anyone could assume, hey, people will enjoy this. Star Wars is dead to me. Star Wars is dead.
I was definitely expecting more from this season. The thing too about this episode, it's like, what does this have to do with the story? Or I guess a story that I think we wanted to see was this exploration, more of this exploration of Mandor, or at least this relationship between the different sects, and we're not seeing that. All we're seeing is they go to Mandor, and then they bring it back, and now they're training, but should they be heading to Mandor now? Like I don't see where any of this is going, to be honest. I mean, the only theories I have at this point is I think that Boca's probably gonna try to
tame the mythosaur.
Usurp the throne that is Din Djarin's, because she believes it's still hers, right? And so she's going to find some way to usurp it.
That's honestly the part of this series that I was mostly looking forward to this season is exploring that power struggle, because we had Paz Vizsla, which is the guy that rescued his son this episode. His ancestor was the one that formed the Darksaber. He was the very first Mandalorian Jedi who formed the Darksaber and led the Mandalorians. And then Bo-Katan held the Darksaber for a while, but she didn't win it through battle. And she was the leader of Mandalore when the Empire purged him. So the rest of the Mandalorians hold her as responsible for that in part way. And then Din Djarin has the Darksaber. He won it in combat, but he doesn't want to lead the Mandalorians. And then there's the whole thing with the mythosaur too. I think everything they're building up with that three-way power struggle with Paz Vizsla, Bo-Katan, and Din Djarin both vying for leadership in the Mandalorian clans and reuniting the Mandalorian clans. That stuff is fascinating to me.
I agree.
I love what they're doing with it and the potential that they have with it. It's just
we're not seeing it.
I agree that the storytelling is not there yet.
No.
So
You know what I think what's missing?
What?
What this story is missing is we definitely need like a firm stance on we need to know about Grogu's sexual identity.
that
I knew you were going
and
somewhere with
where
that.
they stand with Ukraine.
We need to know. We need to know.
My gosh.
We need to know if Grogu identifies as a Mandalorian or as a Jedi.
Mark's got the right answer here.
Or if he's taking midichlorian replacement therapy. Okay.
Well done, bro. Well done.
I think it's obviously what we're missing. But yes,
That's obviously the first thing on the forefront of our minds is.
Yeah, I'm just feeling lost, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of sad because at this point, like the last episode, I felt like we wasted half of it, and then this episode, I feel like the whole thing's wasted because
it's so stupid.
I'm like, what is the point of this? Like, I understand they're trying to like build these conflicts in a story, and to be honest, kind of what I'm thinking, if we're thinking about these like three-way,
Dynamic, yeah, the power struggle.
Yeah.
Never
Like,
thinks about three ways.
maybe the reason why they had to bring in that the big guy has a son now is so that line will continue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's like, oh, it's not just about having the lightsaber and because we're the ones that crafted it. It's like, oh, we're the ones that crafted it, and now there's an heir. But like, I don't know. I have no idea how they're going to play any of that into.
Yeah,
because it's so convoluted at this point. I'm like, I don't even know which story to follow or like which character to be like, oh yeah, okay. Oh, are they going to Mandor? Oh, they're not. Oh, they went to Mandor. Okay, so we're done with Mandor. Okay, like
He's already been baptized.
yeah, I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
No, I definitely understand where you're coming.
Like,
oh, sorry, I was like,
no, you're good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I just suddenly like it looked like you were talking. Anyway, you were talking, but then I didn't hear anything coming out of you. So, anyway, no, I'm completely. I agree. It's a little frustrating, a little confusing, and I wish they were doing it better. I like some of the things I'm seeing, but I wish they were doing it better.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say a lot of the visuals are what interests me. Like when I first started watching the show, that's really what I was in for. You know, I was like, oh, the Mandalorian, like such a cool way to go about this character. In fact, you know that for Halloween, I was like, I'm totally going to be a Mandalorian, right? Like, and everybody wants to be Mandalorian for Halloween, right? Because it looks cool. It's a cool,
strong.
Right, and they've done really well with like the visual graphics and you know these atmospheres and everything, and that's why I keep watching it because I'm like I love the character, I love the Mandalorian, like how he looks and how he interacts with everything, but then there's these stupid things where I'm like it just didn't make any sense. I don't know what like.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm still holding out hope that they can piece something together, but. I don't know. That's just me and Bearded.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars is not dead to me. I refuse to let it die.
But David, you have to let the past die. You can kill it if you have to.
I refuse.
But that's what they want you to do. The Disney said.
David, the other problem though is
die.
You're holding on to your attachments, and that's not very light side of you there.
Yeah, maybe I'm destined to become a gray Jedi. I don't know.
The Mandalorian leads to nothing, and nothing leads to hate. And I don't know. I can't think of a good metaphor. I was trying.
No, everything.
I was trying to find that. I was trying to find that one as it went along, and I never quite got there.
Yeah,
it's boring. That's its biggest offense is it's boring. So
it's weird because I found the episode that you guys found the most boring. I enjoyed the most. So I mean, a lot of that's going to be up to individual taste.
It was nice that there was no Baby Yoda in it. Yeah.
Although I realized that that's probably another big reason, besides the exact overt obvious of like, oh, they're trying to set up Palpatine stuff. The more immediate that is still part of them setting up for Palpatine stuff is that they've got that as set up for. There's definitely going to be Gideon and his, or the lady Kane or whatever her name is, coming after Grogu to get him to continue their experimentation or whatever they want to do. So that's how it's going to tie in with this, rather than just a setup for the future, even though it's tying in with this for that eventual future too. So I was thinking about that. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
I honestly don't. I honestly do not know if any of it's going to tie in to anything.
Yeah.
So it's sad. It's very sad. Star Wars used to be great. I don't think we should let the past die. I think we should let the current die. I think we should let the present die. We should kill the present. It wasn't that good of a gift. So I'm tired. I'm falling asleep.
Should we re-gift it?
Yeah, that's called Indian giving. That's racist.
Okay.
No, that's different. That's when you gift it and take it back.
Mm-hmm.
I wish Disney would Indian give Star Wars. Or I wish George Lucas would Indian gift. Whatever. You get the
where you going? But you're falling asleep.
I'm getting really tired, and I still didn't make a video for tomorrow. So
you're kicking the dead horse that fell off the bandwagon. Something.
I'm kicking the band. The sun's getting real low. I'm tired, and I don't want to watch Star Wars anymore. It's so sad to not be excited for Star Wars. But
I am sad for you that you cannot let yourself have joy.
But here's the thing: I can go listen to books. Books. I'm listening to a very diverse book. There's not a single white character. No. There was one white guy in the book. He was a foreigner.
Racist.
Sorry. It's so silly that this argument that it's racist to not like that. I think it's racist to like it. I think it's racist to want to race swap characters and to think that would be interesting at all. There are so many cool stories out there that aren't getting told because Hollywood is so busy repurposing white characters.
You know what I've wanted for years is to have an awesome Hispanic lore animated film with like La Llorona and like Chupacabra or something as like villains, monsters you fight. It would be so freaking awesome. Coco was amazing, but it's not like I want like a monsters. Disney princess. Yeah, I want like a Disney princess thing where they're going
fighting a Chupacabra.
Awesome.
I think that would be really, really cool. And honestly, that
there is
Coco and Kanto did some interesting stuff with that, and they were wildly successful. So I don't know why they're not pushing more like that.
And Kanto was an original story disappointing though.
Yeah,
so
but
Netflix
were wildly successful because that's the biggest argument that I've heard, and I don't agree with it. But that they think that what you need is a known IP, because otherwise people won't latch onto it. They think, we need to go with this thing that people will latch onto as known IP, and then take it and change it and do these swaps and everything. They're afraid to do something new and original because they don't think people will be interested in it. But I think what they need to do is they just need to recognize that like Coco was successful and Kanto was successful, and their original stories that are inclusive and whatever else, and all the things that they want, and it's much more of what they deserve rather than sloppy seconds.
The answer to your question, Martina, is you're getting a Hispanic princess in the brand new Disney production of Snow White.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't you feel represented? We took the character Snow White and made her Mexican. Aren't you happy?
She has pretty fair skin.
To be fair, though,
not as white as snow, though.
To be fair, Netflix did release a trailer of it's not animated, but it's a Chupacabra movie. But it's not. It's sort of
what?
Yeah, Netflix 2 weeks ago they released a trailer for a Chupacabra monster movie, but they didn't call it Chupacabra. Do you want to know what the movie's called?
Yeah, what is it?
Go for it.
It's called Chupa.
Really?
It's just called
Those of
Chupa.
us Spanish speakers are laughing right now.
Too bad we didn't have Angry Mexa on here for his hot take.
I wonder what they
No
call
joke.
it. Like if it's released in Mexico, what they will call it, because there's no way they could call it Chupa.
I think in Mexico they should call it Chupamela.
Chupamela. I don't know Mela.
Yeah. You know, Chupamela.
Interesting.
Oh, okay. Chupamela. Okay, gotcha. Sorry, I was okay.
It's just more descriptive, I think.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, Netflix. Chupa. It's a little chupa. I bet you there's definitely some chupa happening in it. Something gets chupid. Something gets chupard, baby. It's a horrible name.
It is not a great name.
Well, chupar is the verb. It means to suck. A chupacabra is
a goat sucker.
A monster that sucks on goats. So they're like they're almost like vampires, but they grab goats and they suck them dry of their blood.
Yeah.
So
it's usually not. I mean, it comes from that obviously with the name, but it's also the legend has come from all sorts of dead animals that they've found that have just been drained of blood, even cows and whatever else. But
there are other things you can suck. I'll just put it that way.
And for all the connotations, naming your movie
shrimp,
suck.
Some little birds, some vergas. Anyway, let's call it there, and we'll see you guys next week. I don't think there's any. I don't know if I can have time to watch John Wick 4, but it's just Mandalorian next week, and the week after that, I'll have seen the D&D movie and Mario in the same week. So
those both look really.
I would normally have seen the Mario movie in the week after that because I wait till Tuesday after, but I gotta take my son to go see Mario, so we're seeing it.
I'm excited for Mario. It's looking pretty good.
It does. Like I literally, the only complaint is how masculine they're making Peach, but the rest of it looks really good. So,
yeah,
it's silly. It's silly that we can't have princesses act like princesses anymore. That's my one complaint.
From what I've seen in the trailer, she looks like a princess in some shots, and sometimes she looks like Battle Royale, Super Mario Bros. Tracksuit.
And
Mario
she
Kart
just looks like a competent leader instead, But you haven't had to. I don't know. There hasn't been any reason to develop characterizations for most of these characters anyway. So I don't know.
I did hear that Jennifer Lawrence was the first Chupa, or the first two Chupa. That's in Swahili it means uterus. Apparently, that's cool.
All right. Well, I got to get out of here too.
Bye, guys. We'll see you guys next week when we have to talk about the Mandalorian, unfortunately, and I guess the books that I finish in the meantime because there's nothing else to talk about. I'm sure something crazy will happen in the news. Maybe we'll hear more about the King guy. So we'll see. We'll see how that develops.
Follow that story.
Something going on there.
He's denied everything, innocent until proven guilty, but looks a little bit more. We'll see. Bye, guys. I love doing this. So thanks for tuning in. I'm done. Are you guys done? I'm done.
I don't have anything else to say. No.
Okay, good. Bye.
Done.
See you.
And now it is time to say goodbye.
We had a great conversation.
It's been fun. But all good things must come to an end, and the goodest ending I can think of is
Right now, this moment, this night.
So I guess we just say goodbye.
So, goodbye.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day. But come back next week for more outrageous bloopers. yours!
This is the end.
Well, there's only one thing left to do.
I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.